Timta. Inen atha fi pa timta. Inen atha fi pa timta. Inen atha fi pa timta. All right. Questions?
Okay. All right. I don't know if you was on Facebook. Um,
Briefly
I
about
had put.
20, briefly about 20 minutes ago. Or no,
Yeah.
about 40 minutes ago.
Okay. I had I don't know if you seen it or not. You probably have, because I tried to put it on your timeline, but it wouldn't let me do it. So I think you got privacy restrictions on yours. But
I have no privacy restrictions on daily news postings. I have no privacy restrictions on Atlant Post, but that's not mine. That's Zach Curran, Ohio. I have no privacy restrictions on Chief Nanya-Shaabu Eil, which is the fan page. I have no privacy restrictions on Atsekata. No privacy restrictions on my Facebook page.
eh, it would. I tried to post something, and
I'm
it wouldn't
sure.
let me do it. So I get it.
And what was
I
it
get
you were trying to post?
Okay. Someone claimed, but it's on my timeline. Someone claimed that they have a lien on the American Bar Association and the International Bar
Oh, I
Association.
saw that.
Oh, you saw that? Okay.
I
Okay.
saw the article, but I haven't seen anything to say, well, how did you go about putting a lien on the British accredited registry? Because you would have to have either a contract or point out a defect in the operation of the British accredited registry, which would
Hmm.
now it that also includes the Inns of Court. And
Hmm.
if the Inns of Court in London is not part of this, then there's a problem.
Hmm. Yeah, I didn't see a contract like you said, and I didn't see a UCC1 filing anywhere. And where was it filed as well, whether it's in the United States or not? I didn't see that. So, but what was interesting is that they gave a Securities and Exchange Commission a tracer number on
Yeah,
it, and I put that on my timeline as well.
yeah. And from what you saw, you had an issue because you said you were not able to find the tracer number on the SEC website.
Right, right, right. That was it. That was one issue, and then the others, I didn't. I wanted to see where the lien was at. I did
Yeah.
some search. I couldn't find anything, so I was wondering if it's even real or not.
Well,
Although,
this is why I'm saying a lot. Karen Hudes is falling under the same issue because Karen Hudes was talking about she put or was attempting to put a lien on Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and all of them. And the issue with her was, I said, well, where's the contract justifying you putting a lien on them? And she was unable to present that. Someone else pointed that out to Karen Huda, said, okay, we're not seeing any documentation about what you're doing, so how do you justify what you're doing? She couldn't answer. So instead of dealing with it, the first thing she does is she starts attacking the individual, and that's consistent with her because Anu did the same thing and was telling her, well, you need to speak with the chief. And then first she accused me of being a crook, then she accused Anu of being a crook, and then was going in on Anu, and Anu was like, look, I'm not the one, he's over here. I'm just saying, since you're putting this out about that global fund trust, whatever the heck it is, so you should be talking with him. That never came, that wasn't dealt with. And that's very similar to like with the same thing with the IRS when they say, okay, show the law that says, and they were using the technicality or technology of the words. There's no law requiring an American citizen to pay taxes. American Coppertone people, citizen means corporation. So that is two totally different things going in opposite directions. So why are they claiming that? Because it's going to come out because of the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, because of the UN International Decade for People of African Descent. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to turn around now and do what? They're going to realize that they have an issue, and the issue is because they're not indigenous, they have no claims to the land. They can keep the buildings. I'm saying jack them up,
Wow.
float them out.
Yeah. Uh,
And the more that you all keep bringing up this up in conversation, or if you have commercial issues and you bring this fact up, it creates an energy, a vibration, a resonance, a tone, a frequency, a power. It creates a energy field. It creates a cause and effect, not only within your immediate environment, but with the whole planet. Because the thing is, okay, all this is sitting here. Now you see what's happening with the market. The market, they said on the 2015, it contracted. They said it was terrible. Now you see Zimbabwe is going to take on the Chinese yuan as a currency to do trade and businesses. It's over as far as the U.S. commercially is concerned. I will get to this article, but I want to bring it up briefly and not touch too much onto it, but enough for you to know they caught the Congress conspiring with Benjamin Netanyahu to scuttle the Iran deal.
mm,
They got this on audio.
wow.
They got this on audio. So now when Barack was trying to get the deal done, the Republicans, these are Republican congressmen, mind you, they were already cutting deal, and Benjamin Netanyahu's people was basically saying, well, what can we do? What do we need to do to get you on side? They got this on tape, so it comes down to that those Republicans or the whole Republican Congress is guilty of treason.
Mm,
Now it's going to be interesting how this plays out because all the congressmen, Hillary Clinton, all of them know Barack Obama is illegal, all of them.
mm,
So it's going to be interesting how this plays out. So I've stated this before, and we're seeing it now. When somebody makes a claim, people are saying, "Where is your documentation? Where's your proof? Where's your evidence? Where's your claims?" And you're starting to see people are saying, "That's nice. Let me see something." It's not fine anymore. And people are getting hip to that. They're getting hip to it. So I saw, like I said, I saw the post that you had, and this is just a confirmation of what has been done. 2016 SF-181 on the Gregorian calendar. The SF-181 is going to be it will be the key, the doorway, the gateway, it'll be the time gate, it'll be the star gate. Everything else that anybody wants to do on the other side of that must go through that SF-181. They have to do the same process that all of y'all have done. They don't do that, they're not saying anything.
I wonder how many of us has done the SF-181.
I'm saying there's at least over 400 people have done SF-181. Some people I've published whole families SF-181s. Or if you're talking actual numbers, who knows? It could be up because I know one individual who told me that they had a relative that works at the Pentagon who did an SF-181. And that may have triggered the story last week, which I'm going to talk about this week, about the Pentagon saying they can't find $8.5 trillion. So I'm like, well, if you can't, because I've put it in simple terms. 8.5 trillion, the Pentagon cannot locate. I said, oh, that means y'all can't protect the money. Well, if you can't protect the money, what do we need you for? Because if you can't protect the money, how are you going to protect us against terrorists if you can't protect the money? That is the most fragile and most important thing out there, and you can't protect it, don't need you. That means because right there it's a confession they're not winning the war on terror. Then, I think it was Florida, I might have it in here, where they arrested the entire police force in Florida.
Yeah, was it just one town?
It was a police force in a town or some city in Florida. The whole police force was doing drugs, selling,
laundering drugs
from drug cartel. The whole police force.
Mm.
So you see, we're looking at some very critical shifts and things are going to be occurring now. And
Mhm.
then, of course, now this is speculative of that Elizabeth said, well, this is y'all last Christmas, y'all better enjoy it. And I'm taking that with a grain of salt only because I never saw the article. However, she did have a picture of Diana next to her, which doesn't make sense because she's the one who put the order to knock her off.
Mhm. Wow.
So for her to, and it's one of these things when they get to that age in that age demographic, their mind, if they're not of sound mind, their mind has a tendency to go back to the past and the stuff they've done. Then they want to start uh, making amends because they don't know what's coming up. So they're like, okay, let me come clean. So this way I can do all the devil. This is the mindset. I'll do all the devilish when I want. Then when I hit 75, then I'll just be nice at the last second and tell everything, and then I get into heaven.
Mm.
So the thing is, and I'll tell you all this, there's nothing for these Amorites on the other side of death. Nothing for them.
Mm.
That's why they work so hard to I'm like, okay, the stock market dropped. I can't figure how you jumping out like that broker that was 25 in New York jumped out a 24 floor building and committed suicide, jumped out the thing. I said, well, either he did commit or he lost somebody some big money. And they said, no, you're going to go flying. You're going to, we're going to give you a jump start imitation of Superman. You know, however, the thing is, they do when the stock market. That's why I was telling you all, watch the markets, watch the numbers, pay attention, and watch how you want to get a pulse on the elite. Watch the markets, watch the reaction, watch what things change. They're already talking about making robots and robots being able to do the work for people. So automation is something on somewhere's on the horizon. Now that's down that path, not counting about the double unit bodies that they have. Like if you, for those of you that are in that age demographic, you'll remember the $6 million man, and they had the episode with the Sasquatch and the androids. That was back in the 70s.
Mhm.
Yep. Mhm.
So they again don't let them fool you thinking that okay, well they're just now developing that. No, they've been had that tech. Remember, they caught Hillary Clinton in Virginia and somewhere in D.C. at the same time at two different events.
Mhm.
Mm.
Barack Obama was doing a press conference simultaneously, two different press conferences on two different events at the same time. A lot of these leaders have clones.
Maybe those are the what they call the robotoid. Maybe Barack.
Clone.
Maybe the
They got
both
clones.
Baracks are
They got
robotoid.
clones, double unit bodies, robotoids. Yep.
Yeah. He might be a robotoid. Period.
The George Bush Senior, there was an interview and he clicked. There was something that was in his right eye and clicked, and even Bill Clinton looked at him funny, like, "What the heck's wrong with you?" So yeah,
Mhm.
and the Jimmy Carter family, the whole Carter family was taken out. They're all cloned.
Mm.
Mm.
They're all that whole family. Amy, Jimmy, his wife, they're all clones.
The rapper B.O.B. was talking about that because I saw some of his tweets. He's
Who?
talking about people in the industry with clone. It's a rapper B.O.B.
B.O.B. Never heard of him.
He did this song with Bruno Mars. You know, the tune goes something about you. You know that beat.
I know the other song by Bruno Mars. Don't believe me, just watch Uptown Funk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. So you know that's Michael Jackson's son, right?
Oh, Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Oh wow, wow.
Oh, y'all didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Bruno Mars, who sings Uptown Funk. Uptown Funk gon' give it to you. Don't believe me, just watch. That's Michael Jackson's son.
Wow.
His manager, who was Russian, when they found out about it, because he went and did a DNA, he was like, "Hey, let's do this." His management he said no, leave it alone. His management said no. The fans need to know this. The world needs to know it. So he put it out. When he did that, the manager ended up getting fired
Mm.
because that was confidentiality that Bruno Mars wanted, and the guy who's the manager is supposed to be doing what the artist is saying, and was like, nah, because again I could comprehend a lot of drama with that.
Mm.
You know, say you're related to Michael Jackson, and oh yeah, it's not exactly something that you want the whole world to know. But he led on. He said, well, I can moonwalk, but that doesn't mean I should. So it's like, so that tells you right there.
Mm.
Any other questions?
So, yeah, how now that you had talked about the stock market, how's that going to play about with because we talked about I think we talked before Puerto Rico and on NPR this week I was listening in and they were talking about the obligations they're not going to be able to pay because they have what's called general bonds and
Yeah,
obligation bonds
yeah.
according to their constitution. So. Um, and it makes sense now that the woman had came out in December saying that they were bankrupt. So what are they going to do now that the Pentagon can't protect the money? So because Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States, so how's that going to play out?
Well, it's like this. They've been doing a lot of financial wizardry, cooking the books, accounting fraud, and I've said this in weekly addresses from before that there's only going to be a certain amount of time, and they're not going to be able to continue doing this. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So as much as they want to make it appear that everything is cool, um, this is what they have to do to prevent the stampede on the stock market. Remember, there was a $5 trillion euro bond on file. Pardon me, $5 trillion electronic run on the banks. This was around the time that the export declaration was done back in 2008.
Mhm.
So people who move, like Amorites, when they find out information that the general populace or those who don't know, they don't say nothing. They act on it and they stay quiet. So if they're supposed to make moves, they make moves. If they're supposed to leave, they'll leave. If they're supposed to leave the planet, they got the rocket ships ready to go. They ain't telling nobody. They just one day they're like, what happened to them? Gone.
Mm.
And that's why I've been, and getting on everyone on the open format address, even with what we're doing now, to like, okay, you all really need to start paying attention to what's happening. And the thing is, with there's so many things that it's like there's multiple timelines happening simultaneously. So what actually will happen is what will happen. However, there's so many variables. Is everybody getting what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you got Fukushima. Nobody's talking about that. That's going to be the dark horse.
Mm-hmm.
Then after Fukushima, then what's the other one? Okay, U.S. bankruptcy.
All kind of what do you call it? Environmental catastrophes. You know.
They have a
So,
nuclear. They got a nuclear leak. Where is that? North, 30 minutes north of Manhattan. That they had to shut the power. They had to shut the power plant down.
mm-hmm.
Who is the other one? Then they got a gas leak currently in California.
There's two. There's another one. Oh my goodness. My mind is short. But there's two of those now. I can't remember the other
Okay, there's
state.
another gas leak, different state.
And the Arctic melting.
Oh yeah, they said it went up 50 degrees.
Yeah, wow.
So they said it's going to cause flooding in the northern U.S. Let's see what else we got here.
Mississippi
Okay,
flood.
they talk about an asteroid.
Oh, really? Still talking about the extra?
Asteroid, then there's Nibiru.
Hmm.
Let's see, what else is there? Asteroid, Nibiru. Um, oh, uh, don't forget CERN.
Yeah.
And then there is another particle accelerator somewhere in Iowa doing the same thing. So each one of these represents a potential multiple timeline. And what happens, who knows? So I don't care how much fiat they claim to have. This right here, this gas leak leaking out ammonia in San Diego, that is liability. The other one in the other state you talk about, T, that's liability. Asteroid, okay, we'll call this a long shot liability. The nuclear meltdown in Manhattan and they had to shut the power plant down, liability. Fukushima, planetary liability.
Hmm.
Because what they didn't tell people is there are U.S. Navy that are suing the U.S. Navy because they were exposed to the radiation when they were posted over there. That's, again, being kept out the news. U.S. bankruptcy, basically the receivership or the shutdown of the U.S., that's a big liability,
Mm-hmm.
because if you have bonds invested in the U.S., and they're stuck for 30 years and they take, you lose all that money or the fiat. That is an act of war. Countries go to war over stuff like that. Then the CERN, which they haven't talked about from since I think it was the end of November. They didn't talk about that was when the stuff with France jumped on. Uh, somebody, y'all need to invest in some sinus, I guess. Clear your sinuses, somebody there. Much appreciated. So CERN, with the France, they haven't talked about. You notice they're not talking about CERN anymore because they said that there may have been a black hole that opened or there was a meltdown. So that's a European liability. They have another similar atom smasher in Iowa, which they're not talking about, but we know they're smashing atoms. That's another liability. Nibiru, economic liability. Why I call this an economic liability? They had a conference about 2 years ago with nothing but business people. And they told them, okay, now that there's a fact extraterrestrials exist, how is this going to affect business? See, they're not caring about the environment. They're not caring how is this going to affect people. They're saying, how is this going to affect business?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because again, if you get exposed to a culture or which would be yours anyway, that's 100,000 years advanced, better than this. What do you think people are going to do? They're going to leave. Who's staying for this? If they said, look, all you have to do is come. You ain't need to bring your Walkman. You ain't need to bring your gold or silver. They said, no, just come. You don't need none of that. Who's staying? So the sociopaths, the nihilists, the psychopaths, misnomer world leaders, they don't want that. because then it's just like a computer program from the Matrix. Any program that does not um, any program that does not have a purpose is deleted.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be self-deletion that they're no longer important, which would mean they implode based on the ego. Any other question? And for those that's in, you can feel free to type your question in into the chat box.
I have one last question for now. Um, has it ever been? I know they passed the 13th Amendment with 20 sections, the original one. Has there ever been a definition for people of African descent, or that's just based on assumption?
No, there is no assumption. Who is the, what's his name? Yoho, the guy running for office. I think he's out of Florida, and he said blacks should only get 3/5 of the vote.
Mm-hmm.
Then they say, oh, he never said that. I said, well, okay, accept that for value. What's his name? Kucinich did, or no, not Kucinich. Huckabee. Huckabee said that's what the law of the land is.
Yeah.
It's just like it's the same thing applies, just like with what's his name, David Banner. He's upset. This is what you think of us.
Yeah.
I'm like, David Banner. Did you even look? You can't even find a definition of black in Black's Law Dictionary. So you should think, why are they calling it Black's Law and there's no definition of blacks in Black's Law?
That's ironic.
Right. Right.
Makes sense.
So insane.
But let's see.
And he's upset. Is this what you think of us? Black has no. I tagged David Banner. He ain't say nothing. Contract.
I saw that. I saw that.
That's what 48 or 72 hours ago.
Yep. I
He
saw it.
nothing. So I said I'm going to watch and see how long he's going to take to respond to that. Because my thing, and the only reason I commented was it ended up on my timeline. So since it ended up on my timeline by him, I don't recall him and I ever being friends on Facebook. However, may have been in the past. Here it is. Now, what's your response to that? Silence. Then that's it. You have nothing to complain about.
Mm-hmm.
Satep Ross question. Did you, Dr. Cresswellson, pass? I found that out maybe about an hour ago. I heard that she was in the hospital. Then I heard that she transitioned earlier or this afternoon sometime. So, you know, like I said, I give honors to what she did. However, I challenged her.
That's right.
I got Aaron. Aaron is a witness. Ahanu, the other brother Jelani were all witnesses. And I look at this at the timing of her transition on a Saturday, and I'm like, aha, with all this ISIS stuff jumping off, this will solidify her book, and then watch, they will start pushing her book for Nubians to read the ISIS papers, ignoring the fact that black has no standing at law, and the Egyptian deity, her name was Aset, not Isis, because Isis is Greek.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see these guys, Q-Dog and Omega Kappa Appa and all this stuff, if they're going back to the Etruscans, I'll give them that. If they're not, if you're going to make reference to Egypt, then you have to use the correct terminology.
Mm-hmm.
This is why when you look at anthropology and history, they use what? They use Latin to describe something.
Mm-hmm.
Latin is still a young language. It's not as young as English, but they use Latin. And then just like sometimes if some of you all have commercial issues and you start speaking to these adjudicators in Latin, they look at you funny like, where you know Latin from? I said, hey, well, fraus este salare fraudem. And then they're sitting there like all of a sudden now they're intimidated because you're not supposed to know. It's supposed to be clockwork, easy. Don't worry about it. Ain't nobody going to say nothing. Easy money. You ain't got to worry about nothing. So this was, like I said, news that I heard about that with Dr. Cress Welsing. And again, the thing is, like Dr. John Henry Clark said, he said, those that are not on my level, I teach. Those that are my peers, I challenge. So I challenged her, and the challenge remains unchallenged. Because I read the book. Like I said, everything. I said all she has to do is switch the syntax. That will take her into a world of infinity. And who knows? It may come out later that she was probably considering it. But one thing is for certain: we know she got that SF-181. If you're trying to fix problems of a people, you do that immediately. You don't sit there and say, "Well, we're going to do," because that means you got the mindset of these invaders, meaning that, okay, we're going to put a committee together and study what is the significance of an SF-181. Then in 5 years, here's the findings that we found, and now we're going to see what is the operative research, what is the operative, what has been the practical application, and we'll get back to you in 5 years. That's 10 now. Then another 5 years, okay, there's the result of the practical application of the SF-181 based on our initial research. So now we're going to see, is it implementation valid? Well, we're going to need another 5 years for that. That's 20. See, that's when it pertains to you. When it pertains to them, they see this is what's happening, this is what's hot, this could be the thing, and they say, oh, this is a mistake. That's it. They drop that immediately. Immediately. So, yeah, the SF-181 on the Gregorian calendar, and I'll tie Dr. Cresswell singing because, it's probably somebody's going to ask me anyway, the situation with Bill Cosby. That is assigned to the elite, so-called elite blacks. Listen, we're doing this right here. You stay when we tell you to do ABC, XYZ. You don't give us no lip because we'll do you like Bill. Bill's a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Rupert Murdoch, who was responsible for that phone hacking that was going on in England with the UK Times, and then he had to go in front of that committee to explain now they were hacking the Queen, the Prince, everybody was getting hacked. Then, of course, some nonsense jumped off where this guy, how do you get into a hearing where there's security with a pie? And then he said he was going to throw it at Rupert Murdoch, but then he said, well, he had reservations. Said, you done smuggled the damn pie in there, now you're trying to say you got reservations. And he was too slow because by the time he did it, Rupert Murdoch's wife, who's Thai, she's Asian, she reaches from behind, she's short, and her arm got long and did a big long ass karate chop to block him. So Rupert only got part of it on his side of his face and his shoulder. So, and then the guy who brought the pie, who smuggled the pie in, what happened to him? Nothing. And when that happened, what did they do? They cut the satellite feed to the event and then said, we're continuing it, but nobody's going to get to see. That's when I said, oh, that was all staged.
Mm-hmm.
Him, Rupert Murdoch, his son, billionaire. All he had to do was go in front of committee. He never got paraded for nothing. There was a billionaire in Florida who raped his 6-year-old daughter. And they said, well, the judge is like, well, we can't throw him in jail because that would be too hard on him. So, we're not going to give him any time, or they gave him probation or some next to nothing. And the excuse was because prison would be too hard for him. Bill Cosby, they walked him down. They said, we're going to make a spectacle out of you. Cane or no cane, half blind or no half blind. So I got his report. I put it on Facebook. Some of you all have seen it. And when they have racial category, they have him down as what? Black.
Yeah.
So I don't foresee Bill Cosby being successful in this criminal issue, and I don't see him winning the civil suit for defamation. Why? Black has no standing at law. That is going to be another mantra that y'all will, running into people you socialize with or whatever. They doing this stuff. Black has no standing at law. But girl, you know what I'm saying? Black has no standing at law. You might have to say it about 8 or 9 times before it sinks in. When Barack Obama says, I do not consider myself black has no standing at law, that's it. That's exactly what that means. So you're going to see, like I said, he was buying NBC. He tried to buy another, I think it was CBS he tried, which was the recent thing. I'm like, what is he not getting? I'm like, man, with the millions you had, he could have opened up a internet media company. He didn't even need to go television. Remember, okay, for y'all that's in Renanquah or out in the East, remember that, what's his name, Wiener, the Jewish guy who took a picture of his penis and then emailed it to one of his interns and then said, oh, somebody hacked his account. And they said, no, it wouldn't hack your account. They said, we went and we looked at the IP address. It came from your device. You sent it to her. And then he had to resign. First, he didn't want to resign. Then he had to resign. Then he went back and ran for office a second time. And then he went and did it again. So what happened was, aside from that, he had spoke with a little girl, and he told the little girl, the internet is where it's at.
Oh.
So if he's telling a little girl this, and Bill Cosby was a billionaire, and when you have those type of fiat, you have a manager, you have a publicist, you have an image advisor, you have consultants, you have all of this. You're telling me all those people could not convince him to get an internet company and television? That don't make sense.
He just sounds like he's obsessed with having what the Caucasoid males have.
Well, I accept that I accept what you're saying, T, and it would stand to reason. And the thing here is this: I said this before. When those men in the entertainment industry, the women in the entertainment industry, there's certain things that they have to do the public is not privy to. And when they do these type of things, they seem to think that, okay, they did this initiation, they got to do these rituals once a month or every couple months or whatever, and everybody has to be there. This is what happens. Their thinking is that they've made it, that they're in. It's like, no, you were just merely tolerated, not accepted. And I was listening to Weekly Address 64 where Saw was saying, this is when I was playing the Amorite boy who was trying to get some young rapper, and he was telling him, he's like, look, you're broke, effed up in the hood, your women are getting raped, your men are he said, remember that one? That was 64. So I listened to that about an hour ago, and I'm like, well, where am I? I'm like, I'm hearing Saw, I'm hearing Dakota. I like, what's going on here? And then so I just let it play from where because I just tried to get past the intro, and after listening to it, they had kicked me off because I was playing that YouTube video by him. So I had to fight hard, real hard. Had to jump my phone, reset it 5 times. That on the 64 in the beginning, within the first 27 minutes. I hadn't even started answering questions yet. So that's what told me. I said, okay, I see what's going on here. So when everyone was listening to it, I said, this is what the real deal is. You are tolerated, but you are still looked at as beneath them. And there's nothing that is going to change that fact. There's a article, or a video rather, of these Amorite couples gave their 2 Amorite daughters. One was about 4 or 5, the other one was about 7, and gave them 2 black dollies, but it came from their uncle and their aunt. So when they gave the dollies, the black dollies, the Nubian dollies to their aunt, The little one, the big one, the older one looked at it and was like, and so, something wrong? You don't like it? No, I like it. I like it. That's the older one. The younger one, she was on the floor crying, and she did one thing, picked it up with both hands and put that in the bag perfectly, threw it right back in the bag. What's the matter? Little girl's crying. So now when they want to talk to me or they mention to you all, well, we need to come together and explain why is these white children crying when they're given black dollies? Why aren't they happy? A Nubian child will look at it as a dolly and treat it as such. These Amorite children was like, they cried. The younger one was the more honest one. The older one just said, I like it. Because she just looked at it, put it down, and put it to the side of her, because she was still holding it. This was like, what am I going to do with a black dolly? And the younger one was straight up, was not hearing that. She was bawling. And I said, you know what the irony about this is? I said, that same one bawling, give her 15 years and she'll be all over Tyrone.
Yeah.
I find that very interesting. So Rahuat, I'm saying Rahuat to Saiba. So Saiba, there's a chat box there, so you can chat your question in. And Anu and everybody else that can see me, but I can't see you all, which is fantastic. That we've got so many people here, so I want everybody to be able to see. I may not be able to see everybody, but you can see me. This is what this is about. This is what this is for. So it's not meaning that good. I can't see you. I'm just saying. So, and that the first 6 that's in, or the first 5 I get to see. Afterward, that's it. I can't see. So Ahmed, I can't see you. And the ones that's on the phone, and I'm going to do this as a public service announcement. This weekly address is for those that's donating. This is not for you all to give the copy that I email you to family members who are not in to look at this, because this, again, is like giving a child dynamite. You think you're doing something for them, and then this information is going to settle in their brain. Then one day when it's a full moon or as it's heading into a full moon, they start flipping on you, and then you're going to be like, well, why are they acting like? Because you done shattered their world, because you were giving them something they were not prepared to handle. So I'm just letting you all know, because I know some people have done that and given it to family members. It's like, this is not going to help your cause out. Okay, anyone got any questions? Okay, outside of Tiger, Tima Satepin Ra'el, Hero Monterey L, and Aaron, I can see you all. Everyone else, you're going to have to put your questions in the chat. So I can't see, because I can't see everyone else. So the ones I just mentioned, I can see them. I can't see everybody else. Everyone else can see me. Put your question in the chat. I'll get to it. But for the ones that's on the video, who had their hand up? I think Aaron had your hand up.
Yeah, I think the last person who might be next after Bill Cosby might be Steve Harvey, I'm thinking.
It ain't gonna be Steve Harvey. Hey,
You don't think so?
Not now. Because they're letting him do, what was it? They're letting him do the Miss Universe for next year, and I think the year after that.
Oh, okay. Because he messed up the winner.
Yeah, but he showed the card. I mean, I got to give him honors for this. He showed the card. He said, look, I'm looking at the big print, not the small print. How the hell is he going to read that, especially with a studio, depending on where he's standing, where the lighting is not that bright? Mm-hmm. So I give him that, and then they went and found an old tape back in 1986 where a guy was there. He made a mistake. But the thing is, Steve's getting his nigger wake-up call, because everybody everyone got mad, because I'm sure, especially in Latin America, you said Miss Colombia win, and then you say, no, it's Miss Philippines? Mm-hmm. Puta el negro. That's what they say in Spanish. That's what they'll say in Spanish. Even though he's showing the card, at that point they want to hear that because they figured it's a setup.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said they call them hot blooded, but again, they get that from us. For those whose lineage comes from Southern Turtle Island, Hexian, what they call the Caribbean, Taino, all that area there. And then that extends coming from where? From Africa. So, you know, the Latino, the Negrino, that's what it is. The Negrino, not the Latino, the Negrino.
Negrino.
Mm.
Negrino.
You know, so
Negrino.
yeah, so he's not gonna. He's Steve Harvey. Like I said, I saw Cat Williams get interviewed on Vlad TV, and I didn't know Cat Williams hung out with Michael Jackson either. And it was real deep. Oh yeah, it was real. It was a real deep interview. He said he was one of the first celebrities when they called Michael on that last child molestation when Michael came to the thing in pajamas. Cat Williams was there.
Get out.
He told him, look, it's a hearing. They're going to ask you if you're guilty or not guilty. You say not guilty, then you leave. He said that's why Michael went and hopped on the limousine and then started started dancing on top of the limousine. You know, but getting to the point though was when Cat Williams was talking about, you know, him being able to talk to Michael and everything, he said, you know, he's real deep. He said, so the impression that people had about him is different. And he brought up what's happening with Bill Cosby. He talked about that too. And he said, in this business, for Nubians, when you leave, they want to dirty you on your way out. So I'm trying to think now. I'm okay. Well, look at how many other successful black men actors out there, right? I'll call them black because that's what they will call themselves, so that's fine. How many successful that are able to have a good career and leave on with a positive, leave with a positive outcome and with a positive legacy or positive anything? None. So now people on Facebook are putting the Amorite guy that used to be on Falcon Crest and that other recent TV show and admitted to having sex with a 13-year-old, he don't get touched. They're saying, okay, the women are claiming he raped them, but there's no evidence. Fine. And then even the same thing Cat Williams brought up with the Quaaludes. Okay, why would you go to a man that you knew is married? Why would you come over to a place and you know he's married?
In the house.
You come to his mansion, you know the man is married. Or for the other women who were claiming, you know the man is married, he's inviting you. Oh, well, you thought it was business. And again, in the 70s, that was the drug, and then it was the Spanish fly. All that stuff was been around that Quaaludes, LSD, all that stuff that has been around. But it isn't about that. However, because of the industry that Bill is in, they signed that contract. Then, when the devil says, good, now it's time for my soul. You got all, I gave you all this, now your soul's mine. Michael Jackson. Only time I ever heard him call anybody a devil was Tommy Mottola. And that was big because Michael don't call nobody the devil. So for Michael Jackson to call somebody the devil, oh yeah, you must be. For him to say, Tommy Mottola, yes, he's the devil. He really is. You know, Mariah Carey cried on my shoulder because she was married to Tommy Mottola. So I don't feel, like I said before in previous addresses, I don't feel any sympathy or empathy for any of the black entertainers because this is the contract that they subscribe to. And so when they get in trouble, they would come to the blacks to say, hey, look what they're doing to me to get support when they already knew they had a pre-existing contract in that thing. Brandy. Brandy killed somebody. That stayed in the news for 1 hour. Gone. Some people didn't even know that. I said, oh yeah, she was involved in a car accident, killed somebody. But the reason for that was she was supposed to do what? Give up her firstborn. She didn't want to do it. Ray J was with Whitney Houston when she died. Ain't nobody questioned Ray J.
Mm.
Black devils are out there.
Mm.
This is why when you start looking at things from a logistical standpoint, from a contractual standpoint, it's very easy to discern. It's very easy to see if an individual is coming with proper intentions or ill intention. Because as soon as your automatic logic kicks in, okay, well, what is it you're offering? Offer acceptance compliance. Okay, well, what's the full disclosure? As soon as you all start doing that, then there's no wiggle room. And for those of you that are getting trained, and those of you that will be starting the training for the Group 4 in January, and on the 13th, you all gonna realize I'm basically downloading into you all. That's what I'm doing. So once I download, as soon as you all open your mouth, they all, where you, Chief? Oh man. Because now they're gonna know that you're gonna, if it's gonna be a fight, a rustle and tussle, we gonna do this till the stars burn out. If I gotta throw it on to my sons and daughters, okay, this is as far as I can take it. Old age, y'all responsible for continuing this. Ain't that what these Amorites do when it's their family? They tell their kids on their deathbed, you swear you are going to do this, and your son and your son's sons until we get right. Okay, we saw enough. We've seen Leave It to Beaver. We've seen what was it, the Brady Bunch. We've seen all that stuff. That's how they get down. So now that you all know who you are, indigenous, you're autochtons, you're white, you're Native American, American Indian, you're all that. Nobody can fool you commercially like that anymore. Family members, get with this or hop to the middle of the Atlantic. You can swim. Some people may say be cold, heartless. My response, do what must be done, Lord Vader. Do not hesitate. Show no mercy. Okay, so let me go to Anu's question. A lot of those women around Bill were groupies and aspiring models, which equates to drugs and sex. Ask Bill. Ask what's his name? Who played Wilt Chamberlain. He said he slept with 10,000 women.
Oh, yep.
And so now when the subject comes about racism, said he look how good, and Wilt was in excellent shape for his age. Wilt was in excellent shape even when Kareem broke his record. Wilt was looking good, and when Michael came and Wilt was still looking good, I said, "Oh, okay." Hey, see, they say black don't crack, white is right. White is right. White, once you white, you'll always be right. Anyone else out there got a question? Tiger.
Hey, Chief, did you see that 61-year-old black man that gave us 40 acres and a mule, 40 acres of land and a mule?
Yes, the 40 acres and a mule. And you see, with that opens the doorway now for problems for the U.S. Case in point, with the Secretary of the Interior, China has established with the U.S. what they call an FTZ, which is a foreign trade zone. So of course I had to turn around and fax them. They don't have to. They can ignore me. I'm having fun on an etheric level, but them ignoring these contracts that I'm putting to them. So with a foreign trade zone, what this means is that the Chinese can have areas in different states where it's exclusively China. And what that means is the law enforcement can't go up in there, U.S. Marshals can't go up in there, federal government can't go up in there. So I'm saying, okay, now they established that before this case about the Senate in Georgia getting the 40 acres and a mule. Now what's going to happen is that opens up the gateway. Okay, if you give that to him, you have to give that to everybody.
Mhm.
They don't have to prove that they are a descendant of a slave because you keep calling them what? African American. So by your terminology, you are confessing to not honoring the 40 acres and a mule. Then, which is more land than the U.S. possibly has. And then the next thing is, Pope Francis said when he came over, we have a promissory note and it's time for us to honor it.
Mhm.
Now, they're not going to honor it to nobody that's black or African American because black has no standing at law. So they will give that descendant of a slave the 40 acres and a mule to placate him, give the others hope that they might be able to. Meanwhile, ignoring you still have no status and you have
Mhm.
no standing at law.
Mhm. So that was strictly a political move or whatever by giving that man the 40 acres and a mule.
Now,
Just the way you laid it out.
I wouldn't call it a political move. Remember, they lost, what was it, 20 million social security numbers. They lost what, OPM lost what, 5 million fingerprints. Right? They ain't losing that stuff. They going through delete, delete, delete. Some of you
They
all
sent me one.
see, I was going to say that, Tiger.
Yeah, I got one too.
They
What
blurred
did you say,
it.
Tiger?
Yeah, pull it back.
That's it.
Yeah, they blurred it.
What is that?
This
Okay.
was a letter that Tiger got. He was one of his trust was one of the trusts where they said they lost the information.
Oh,
And he got
okay.
the letter. He got one and Aaron got one as well.
Oh boy, okay.
So,
When did you get this, Tiger? How long have you had it, Tiger?
I had it for about a week now, almost two.
Mhm.
so they know they have to delete. They know what is coming down the road. The
Mhm.
more of you all claim your indigenous standing, that iPads has got them jacked up along with the SF-181, the Pope apologizing to indigenous peoples, the Pope message of peace, slaves no more, brothers and sisters. This is all creeping up. That is why you will not see anything from your black bourgeois because they are the house Negroes.
Mhm.
That's beyond. It's beyond. If anyone whoever hasn't seen the movie Farewell Uncle Tom, if you have not seen it, watch that. That's Roots is a comedy in comparison to that. And
What's
then
the name of it, Chief?
I think I saw that.
Farewell Uncle Tom or Goodbye Uncle Tom.
Farewell.
It's on YouTube. So if you go in there, the whole movie's there. Now it's an Italian movie, so you got to watch it because they have one that's Italian and then they have one where they have it's Italian but they have the English voiceover.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, goodbye, Uncle Tom.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Goodbye, Uncle Tom, yeah.
it's everything in there. I mean, it's very and it's graphic. So I'm going to
Mhm.
forewarn for those of you that are queasy, it's got
Yeah.
some graphic images. It's got some um, very strong overtones pertaining
Mhm.
to what happened in the house with one of the young girls in the house for in the plantation house. So it's got some very graphic and strong overtones. However, it's the truth, and this is the thing. People want stuff. They want the truth, but then they want it sugar coated. Nah, give it to me raw. Now, how else are you going to get better? Anything that you all have ever accomplished in life, there was either a fight, a constriction, or what have you, that forced the deity in you to come forward to overcome that. Without the challenge, that wouldn't happen. Cause and effect.
Mhm.
Okay, we got a question here. Okay, from Anu. When I lived in LA, I was in line at the farmer's market, and Wilt Chamberlain was in front of me, barefoot in the market. He had some ashy feet that were at least a yard long. Interesting. Questions, anyone?
You
Okay.
think that they're going to war, with Russia escalating and
Pardon?
this secret weapon that Russia has and marching on to Antarctic? You think they're going to really escalate that war?
The only thing that'll get escalated is if something, like I said, Russia told the truth that ISIS is created by the U.S. government and 40 other countries are supporting ISIS. So he proved that. Right? This was at a G20, so there is no war on terror. There is no enemy. They just caught the flipping. This is before everybody else came in. The police department down in Florida, where the whole department was laundering money for a drug cartel. So it's all a game. Then the Amorite reporter who exposed the fact that the CIA was importing cocaine and putting it into the black neighborhoods, genocide. Now, here's something that is going to not sit well with some people, but I have to bring it up in relation to that. Knowing what you all know now, and with what they were doing, and this is why knowing contract words, definitions is of utmost importance. Okay, black has no
standing. Hello.
at law. Okay, so we got that straight. So now, when we look at what happened with the crack epidemic, with the cocaine, whether it was LA or in Florida, Planned Parenthood, vaccines, what is it, preschool to prison pipeline, genocide, discrimination, what is that? Orphanages. See anything else? Did I miss anything else? Oh, ghettos, projects.
Hood.
Huh?
Yeah, the hood.
Yeah, ghettos, projects. Uh, denied loans. Denied housing.
Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, I have Planned Parenthood over here.
Okay.
So when you see all of this, in each one of this, crack was attacking who? They called it the black community, right?
Right.
Cocaine was attacking who? Black community. Planned Parenthood is primarily where? In the black community. Vaccines, black community. Preschool to prison pipeline, black community. Genocide, black community. Discrimination, black community. Orphanages, black community. Ghettos projects. Who lives there? Black people, black community. Being denied loans, being denied housing, denied jobs. Denied businesses. All this is what? Black community.
No Child Left Behind.
What?
No Child Left Behind.
That's black community, right?
Yep.
An awful food stamp program, or what do you call it?
Welfare.
Human Service.
Oh, Section 8.
Yeah, welfare.
Section 8.
You're jumping through the fire.
Food stamps. And I want to put an asterisk by those last three because we know it's mostly Amorites that are on that, not Nubians.
Mm-hmm.
They caught that governor in South Carolina. His whole family was on welfare. The guy's a millionaire. They caught another congressman or whomever. Where was it, in Texas or whatever? On welfare, but he was running for office, but he's collecting welfare. Okay, now all these areas. Hold on a second. Let me not forget. NAACP. Rainbow Push, Southern Christian Leadership, National Action Network, let's see, Black Panthers, Black Muslims, Black Hebrews.
And the Christian church, right?
Black Muslims, Black Panthers.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Huh?
The Christian church or whatever, Christianity, religion.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Because Jehovah Witness believe black people are cursed. They're called Lamanites according to their doctrine, and the Lamanites were cursed. When they found out they were cursed, they started pulling on their lips, and their lips got big and started pulling their hair, and their hair kinked up. Oh, I almost forgot my boy Louis, Nation of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you might as well add your boy, New Covenant.
Oh, New Covenant.
TD Jakes and Creflo Dollar.
Creflo.
I saw that post that somebody did. Polite had those Batman slippers on.
Yeah, I saw that. Bishop Eddie Long. That makes me think that was an orgy more than a Christmas party, than a pajama party.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw how she was dressed, and I was like,
yeah. I was like, whoa.
Fourth Science Temple.
He was giving her the sign.
No, because Moore Science Temple don't say they're black. However, Moore Science Temple is contracted as agents, though. That's why they say they're not black, Negro colored, but yet they're on Dun and Bradstreet.
Yep.
Let's see. Nubians. Let's see, who else did we hit? New Black Panther Party.
What about it? Umar Johnson?
Umar Johnson. Yep.
Yep.
I think that's I think we got a very good list here. Okay, now can anybody see what the connection is between all of these groups?
Black.
Okay, so
Black and contract.
so since pardon,
Black and contract. It has no standing at law.
well the black has no standing at law, and it's interesting how all of them call themselves black. Black has no standing at law. So they're going through. They're basically circles. They're going in a circle, not going anywhere, not going further. Everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
And the best one, and like I said, the one that I say is, hey, Barack was the one that said it on Tom Joyner, and look how they thank Tom Joyner. They're booting him off, and he's coming back saying he's not getting booed off. I said, oh, really? I said, well, we'll see. Because he was in Dallas is his flagship, and he's all syndicated nationwide, but Dallas, which is the HQ, he's off the air in Dallas.
Mm.
That don't make no sense.
Mm-mm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it does make sense when you think about it this way. Wherever that audio is of Barack saying that he does not consider himself black, they are fighting tooth and nail for that to never see the light of day. Because the moment that happens, because like I said, you use him. He was saying, yes, we can. He was using spells on people to assist in him getting elected. Yes, we can, and reverses thank you, Satan.
Mm.
Now, why didn't he say yes we can when he went back the second time? Because the program, everyone got hip to it, so he can't use that anymore.
What's his new line?
No, that's when he was for the first time. The second, I wasn't paying attention. The second time he got elected, or pardon me, put in office by the Electoral College.
Yep.
To us,
Didn't,
Rael.
didn't the same thing happen to Michael Baisden? Because he's no longer on in our area.
They probably got on him because he played Dick Gregory, and then Dick Gregory started talking about the Jews and how the first president of the United States was a Moor, John Hanson. That was Dick Gregory doing it, but he did it on the Michael Baisden. I listened to that. I was in Atlanta. I know I was on the 285 rolling, and I said, "Oh, because I had stuff to do," and I said, "Oh no, I'll just get on the interstate and listen to this. I cannot leave listening to this." Dick was hitting them so hard, the chat room stopped. Nobody was even chatting in the chat room. That meant everybody was listening. What happens? He starts talking about the first president was a black man, John Hanson. He's a Moor. This is Dick Gregory talking about Moors. He says that, then all of a sudden, what happened? Oh, we lost Dick. Okay, well, we're going to go to commercial and we'll get Dick back, and continue the interview. After they came back from commercial, they went straight to music. You didn't hear nobody say, we're going to get Dick back. And so that's it. Oh, yeah, they got the phone call.
Mm.
This is the world that people are living in. You're not going to get any solution if you're not going to acknowledge these are the type of things that occur. Some of you all are, probably feeling that, whether you're being followed or whether you're being monitored, that this is what's coming with the territory.
Well, I definitely feel like I'm being monitored. And the day after I posted that, the child sex ring with the Rabbi uh, Rosenberg, my computer just went whack. It froze a lot or freeze a long time, and yeah, it's pretty messed up now.
Yeah, and this is why anything that happens in your life that's strange, you document it, you publish it. You don't let it sit there. Oh, okay, well, I guess I forgot to put the alarm on the house, or oh, I guess I forgot to lock the door. No, those type of things, you bring that up.
Mhm.
You make it a point to that because again, you have a lot of people out there that are robots, and they're just going to follow what they're being told to do. Okay, so let's get. Anybody got any questions? If not, I'll get to some articles here. Okay, that, and those of you that I cannot see, like Haka and Yarahim and Khalifia and Saida and Anu and Ahmed and Tehudi, y'all can go in the chat and put your questions in the chat. Okay, this is where we are here. Okay, this was the big story this week. It's an old story, but apparently it popped up this week on, I guess, on the timeline on Facebook. And this is the Pentagon. Now, this is published on August 17th. Pentagon cannot account for 8.5 trillion. And I'm wondering if whether we had already covered this. However, it's still valid in terms of the fact that if they can't protect the money, how can they protect their population from terrorism? Simple. So there's the link. I put the link in the chat for everybody so they can double click on it and save it. And they can watch it at their own leisure. Here's the original link because this apparently was on Reuters. So I'm putting the Reuters link in here in the chat. Okay. Now, November, this was November when it first came out. The Pentagon doctored ledgers conceal epic waste. Linda Woodford spent the last 15 years of her career inserting phony numbers in the U.S. Department of Defense's accounts. Every month until she retired in 2011, she says the day came when the Navy would start dumping numbers on the Cleveland, Ohio office of the Defense Finance and Accounting Service, the Pentagon's main accounting agency. Using the data they received, Woodford and her fellow DFAS accountants they're set about preparing monthly reports to square the Navy's books with the U.S. Treasury's, a balancing the checkbook maneuver required of all the military services and other Pentagon agencies. And every month they encountered the same problem. Numbers were missing, numbers were clearly wrong, numbers came with no explanation of how the money had been spent or which congressional appropriation it came from. A lot of times there were issues of numbers being inaccurate, Woodford says. We didn't have the detail for a lot of it. The data flooded in just 2 days before deadline. As the clock ticked down, Woodford says staff were able to resolve a lot of the false entries through hurried calls and emails to Navy personnel, but many mystery numbers remained. For those, Woodford and her colleagues were told by superiors to take unsubstantiated change actions. In other words, enter false numbers, commonly called plugs, to make the Navy's totals match the Treasury's. Jeff Yokel, who spent 17 years in senior positions in DFAS's Cleveland office before retiring in 2009, says supervisors were required to approve every plug, thousands a month. If the amounts didn't balance, the Treasury would hit it back to you, he says. After the monthly reports were sent to the Treasury, the accountants continued to seek accurate information to correct the entries. In some instances, they succeeded. In others, they didn't, and the unresolved numbers stood on the books. So that just goes to show you. They lost 8.5, so if they can't protect the money, they can't protect their population. That simple. So they couldn't protect their population from any terrorists. Now this story is the same story, but it's on investmentwatchblog.com. So what's the significance of why would Investment Watch report this? Because some of the mutual funds and some of the financial securities are tied into the U.S. military. People could be invested into the military and not even know it. especially if they are derivatives or high risk securities. You wouldn't have a clue what it's involved in. The Pentagon is now saying 8.5 trillion is missing, and they have no idea what happened to it. Now, the article I just read to you before was saying that some of the issues they were able to resolve, some they weren't. Remember? And so now this article is saying they have no idea. See, this is Investment Watch. So we'll put this one in here. Let me do this so I don't lose. Okay, Rahuat, Ahanu, and Tahuti. Dr. Francis Cresswell Singh passed today. Yeah, we discussed that about an hour ago, Tahuti, about Dr. Francis Cresswell Singh, and also the fact that the challenge that she issued, I answered her challenge about lepers putting up leper supremacy against her definition with white supremacy, and she never answered that. So that will remain a challenge that was never disputed, because she got the SF-181 put in her hand, she got the iPads, and she got, what was the other one? The SF-181, the iPads, and leper supremacy was put in her hand, so she knew about it. So this is what we talk about, that older generation knowing secrets, not telling the younger generation, then going to their grave with it. Just trying to get this one here. Say what?
So she got to deal with the ancestors.
Hey, for all we know, they could have called her.
Yep.
Because that's major. I mean, she works at Howard University, federal university that falls under that. You get this documentation and you won't say anything about it. And then they try to lie and say, oh, she didn't do an event at Howard. It's like, we got the flyer from last month. She was there last month. What are you talking about? She didn't do nothing last month. You know, so like I said, this just goes to show. Oh, this one is nice, yes. This is a CIA, ex-CIA contractor confirms that police departments use tests. They use tests so they can hire people to ensure the applicants lack logic and compassion. So what they're saying is, if they're going to hire somebody that lacks logic and compassion, they're hiring psychopaths, they're hiring sociopaths. There's your answer. Washington, D.C., no less. Police departments in the U.S. will not hire prospective applicants as officers unless those applicants lack the ability to think logically and compassionately, a former CIA contractor has confirmed. This story came out. Oh, yeah, because they do theirs at the bottom. There is no, hold on, there is a policy here in the United States that people of a relatively high IQ are not allowed to become police officers, said former CIA contractor Stephen Kelly. Evidently, if an applicant shows signs of relatively high IQ with excellent logical and analytic abilities and a sense of compassion, that applicant will be weeded out of the hiring process. The way that the applicants are weeded out is apparently by means of initial testing. There is actually a test given to applicants, and if they score too high, they are not eligible to join law enforcement, Kelly said. They require people that are incapable of logical, compassionate thinking. Is that, or is that not a definition of a psychopath then?
Yeah. Yeah.
Psychopath, sociopath, somebody with mental issues that lacks compassion, lacks empathy. The confirmation was provided amidst cases of police brutality and incompetence that have recently received national attention. The most recent case involving an officer who slammed a 14-year-old girl's head into the ground and pulled a gun on teenagers in bathing suits would be a good example. It is not only police themselves, but also their supporters who show a flagrant disregard for elementary logic and a profound lack of attention to detail. For instance, police supporters came out in droves and tried to defend Officer Casebolt's decision to pull out his gun on the teenagers, calling it self-defense. But if you watch the video carefully, you can see that the teenagers had already been backing up when Casebolt advanced toward them. It was not until seconds later that he pulled out his gun angrily after they were already trying to avoid him. The video shows every indication that the officer pulled out his gun for irrational emotional reasons and not because he logically concluded that there was any, quote, threat to his life. It is a perfect illustration of low IQ police being defended by low IQ supporters, and neither group, we suspect, has much compassion. It also came to light that the officer Casebolt has a reported history of sexual misconduct and racism after a black man sued him, alleging that Casebolt made him pull down his pants all the way and touched his private area while making racially disparaging remarks.
Wow.
Oh.
Kelly went on to add that police brutality cases like the ones we've been witnessing recently are certainly becoming a major problem here in the United States, with the law enforcement seemingly choosing to persecute the minorities, the black people. The militarization of the police here in the United States is also a big problem, but ultimately I think what this really illustrates is the fact that this country has become the fascist, he said. So I will give you all this one. And again, they're not telling us something we didn't already know. That's why anyone who's calling himself a leader and is not talking about that standard Form 181, you might as well call them a government agent or the Pied Piper of Hamelin. So the link for that story is in the chat box. Yeah, she suffered a stroke. That's interesting. Just going to the Dr. Kress. Okay, here's another angle or another example of disregard for their own so-called law. Oh, slowing up. Hold on, what's going on here? Okay, State Department breaks judge's deadline. They're supposed to hold him in contempt. The State Department broke a judge's order on the number of former Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton's emails it was supposed to release Thursday, blaming the holiday season for throwing it off track. The department promised another release of emails next week to make up for its breach, and said even the emails it was releasing Thursday will not be fully processed and won't be able to be sorted by senders or recipients in the department's computer system. We have worked diligently to come as close to the goal as possible, but with the large number of documents involved in the holiday schedule, we have not met the goal this month. To narrow that gap, the State Department will make another production of former Secretary Clinton's email sometime next week, the department said in a statement. It's the latest embarrassment for the department, which has repeatedly struggled to handle the more than 30,000 emails Mrs. Clinton returned to the government nearly 2 years after she left office. The department is under a federal court order to release emails every month since the summer, but broke the order by missing the first deadline under that order. It had caught up but has now fallen behind again. Now, if there's an order and they fall behind, aren't they supposed to put them? Oh, use the form to claim your prize. I can win an iPad? Okay, well, I'll hold off on closing that out. I'll keep you all posted whether I get the iPad. Back to the article. The department is under a federal court order to release emails every month since the summer, but broke the order by missing the first deadline under that order. Now, aren't they supposed to be held in contempt? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right.
State Department is supposed to be held in contempt. What happened?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. So now, what's going on here? Okay, so now, all told, some 5,500 pages of documents will be released later Thursday. It's not clear yet how many actual individual emails that works out to, since many of them span multiple pages. Under the court order, the government is supposed to release 4,800 full emails this month. The final 5,400 emails are to be released near the end of next month, just days before Iowa voters hold the caucuses that kick off the primary season, deciding whether Mrs. Clinton will be the Democrats' presidential nominee. She belatedly returned her emails after the Obama administration, prodded by Congress's probe into the 2012 Benghazi terrorist attack, realized she had taken all of her messages with her when she left office. The administration then publicly revealed that Mrs. Clinton had refused to use a regular account on the state.gov email server, instead creating an account on a server she kept at her home in New York. So there you go. She's no different than Kim Davis. Kim Davis basically told the Supreme Court, bug off on what happened. She did it 5 days in jail, went back to work, didn't lose her job. Yes, Aaron, you had a question?
Yeah. Like when officials get called out for something they might do wrong, or if it comes out into the public or hits the news, this always happens. When it does come out, the possibility of them getting prosecuted or some kind of liability comes out, it never happens because that time frame has already passed. So then they come out, and when that issue happened with her, it reminded me of the documentary I watched about Lance Armstrong, because he admitted he had used HGH after the possibility when he testified before the I think it was Congress, that they asked him did he did it, and then after liability has passed, then he'll come out and say it because he don't have to go to jail for anything. So.
Are you talking about, what's his name, from the Iran-Contra?
No, I was talking about Lance Armstrong with the bike guy.
They're not doing nothing to him.
Yeah.
See?
I was just trying to draw a parallel, like when they announce something,
Yeah.
or they come out and say they did it, they admitted it, the liability has already passed. That's what I was trying to get at.
Maybe it depends what the statute of limitations is, and depending on when the statute of limitations is, then they'll speak.
Hmm.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
there's some of y'all.
I saw this earlier.
Yeah, this was a sister who's an attorney in Nassau County, New York, talking about the whole system is baffle garb. It's not for you, and they don't care about us. And I said, uh-huh. But she was a district attorney. She's pardon me, a prosecutor. For 5 years, she was a prosecutor. So I said, yeah, she realized that it's all nonsense. You're going to see more professional people coming out like her.
Mhm, mhm.
Pissed off too.
Pardon?
Yeah.
I say she was pissed off.
Oh, yeah. She was very upset.
Very.
However, she's an attorney. She knows about Dred Scott. She should. She knows black has no standing at law. She should. So is she really mad? Because if you're mad and you want to help people, you tell people the truth to help them, correct?
Mhm, mhm.
Yep.
Right. If she know.
Pardon?
I said if she know.
She know. Because that attorney in Inkster tried to jack you up, and you showed him that SF-181, and you brought up Rachel, and then I don't know what that is. I don't want to touch this.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Right? He's an attorney equipped to go from one world into the next. You're like, well, here's my evidence. Here's what I'm tendering. I don't know what that is. It's an SF-180. Remember Rachel Dole? As soon as you brought up NAACP, he knew who she was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he can't front, just like Chaz Bay down in Florida went and got his done, his SF-181 done. A judge signed it, clerk stamped it. Then some of y'all went down to Social Security Administration and got your SF-181 stamped. You all are pummeling them. You think, what am I doing? I'm getting a piece of paper. I know the SF-181, and I'm getting a stamp. What is this doing? And then you're publishing it. Well, what is it? You all have no clue how much damage you all are doing to the matrix.
Mhm.
That right there, like they want to call a confessed judgment for the Social Security to stamp and notarize, that is a confessed judgment. And so I'm happy that you all are able to do different. There's infinite possibilities, as I've always said. That's another one to add to the mix. Okay, where are we at here? Let's go back. Next article. What is this here? Oh, this is 2009. Okay, yeah, this was that woman who was the rep. Yeah, I'm reading this because this is important. Um, okay, this was major scandal erupts involving Representative Jane Harman, Alberto Gonzalez. Now, he used to be the Attorney General under Bush and AIPAC. And this is CQ. This is Salon is the magazine. CQ reports that a key member of Congress was caught on wiretaps agreeing to intervene in a criminal prosecution of AIPAC officials, but Bush's AG protected her. Other obligations prevent me from writing until later today, and I intend to focus on Rahm Emanuel's war crimes protecting proclamation that Obama's desire for immunity extends beyond CIA officers perpetuating torture to the policymakers who ordered it. Watch today as the hardest core Obama loyalists start explaining how the UN doesn't matter, international treaties are irrelevant, and war criminals need not be held accountable. But until then, I wanted to highlight this extremely important and well-reported story from CQ's Jeff Stein, which involves allegations of major corruption and serious criminal activity on the part of the Democratic Rep. Jane Harman. Here's one crucial prong of the story. Rep. Jane Harman, the California Democrat with a long-time involvement in intelligence issues, was overheard on an NSA wiretap telling a suspected Israeli agent that she would lobby the Justice Department to reduce espionage-related charges against two officials of the American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee, the most powerful pro-Israel organization in Washington. Harman was recorded saying she would, quote, waddle into the AIPAC case, quote, if you think it'll make a difference, end quote, according to two former senior national security officials familiar with the NSA transcript. In exchange for Harman's help, the sources said the suspected Israeli agent pledged to help lobby Nancy Pelosi, Democrat, California, then House Minority Leader, to appoint Harman chair of the Intelligence Committee after the 2006 elections, which the Democrats were heavily favored to win. Seemingly wary of what she had just agreed to, according to an official who read the NSA transcript, Harman hung up after saying, this conversation doesn't exist. See, that's how they do to get themselves out of a jam. So I'll give you all this article. Y'all can read the rest at your leisure. Okay, next story coming up. Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab me some water here. Oh, why is this taking so long to load? Okay. This is Meadowlark Lemon, Clown Prince of the Harlem Globetrotters, dies. This was on the 27th. Now, this, for some of y'all might know who the Harlem Globetrotters is. I think most should. And this was Meadowlark Lemon. It's interesting. It was on the 27th. So Meadowlark Lemon, the clown prince of basketball's barnstorming Harlem Globetrotters, his blend of hook shots and humor brought joy to millions of fans around the world. He died. He was 83. Lemon's wife and daughter confirmed to the team that he died Sunday in Scottsdale, Arizona. Globetrotter spokesman Brett Meister said Monday. Meister did not know the cause of death. Somebody's moving around there. Okay, there we go. Though skilled enough to play professionally, Lemon instead wanted to entertain. His dream of playing for the Globetrotters hatched after watching a newsreel of the all-black team at a cinema house when he was 11 years old. Lemon ended up becoming arguably the team's most popular player, a showman known as much for his confetti in the water bucket routine or slapstick comedy as his half-court hook shots and no-look behind-the-back passes. A sign of his crossover appeal, Lemon was inducted into both the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame and the International Clown Hall of Fame. And for those that know anything about masonry, clowns were actually assassins.
Wow.
My destiny was to make people happy, Lemon said as he was inducted into the Basketball Hall as a contributor to the game in 2003. There's a part I want to get back. I want to see. I want to read this part here, which I found very telling. Okay. Lemon spent the last years of his life trying to spread a message of faith through basketball. He became an ordained minister in 1986 and was a motivational speaker, touring the country to meet with children at basketball camps and youth prisons with his Scottsdale-based Meadowlark Lemon Ministries. I feel if I can touch a kid in youth prison, he won't go to the adult prison, Lemon said in 2003. Now, that to me is an irresponsible statement.
Mm-hmm.
So that means he's ignoring the other uh, variables that contribute to that and feels, well, if I talk to them, in other words, if you become a Christian, maybe that'll help you not go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Read in between the lines. So, but outside of, like I said, outside of that, was very interesting. You know, I was like, I said, Meadowlark Lemon? I said, wow. And that was just a few days. So the article is there. On to the next one. Okay, this is a Forbes article. Do I have to smudge this computer again? I hope not. Yeah, it's really slowing up. Okay. In the meantime, those that's on the chat, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I'm just waiting for this thing to stop from slowing up. Yeah, this is the attorney from she used to be a former prosecutor in Nassau, but see the thing is she still got that Queen's oath. She got that oath to the bar. So anytime any of them start, getting all upset, like Malik Shabazz, for example, you say, "Do you have an oath to the bar?" As soon as he says yes, it's like, "No, you playing then." And that's the main. That's how you're going to discern whether they're really serious. Are they going to make that type of a sacrifice? Same thing with Karen Hudas. Karen Hudas has still got her law practice, so she can't even file a UCC. And that obviously she doesn't know that because she was relying on somebody else to give her information. Okay, well, what happened to the story? I don't care who's oh, this is the technology. Oh, I remember. There's a video here. This guy had hacked in, and this hacker uncovered a database. Yeah, that's why I can't find it. They must have took it. This hacker uncovered a database sitting on the web containing various pieces of personal information related to 191 million American citizens. Now, pay attention to that number. 191. Now, what's interesting about this is American citizens, and we talked about that before most of you got on here. You can't be an American citizen. That's an oxymoron. And those are two ships going in opposite directions. You're either a U.S. citizen or you're an American, but you can't be an American citizen. See, what it's coming down to is they know they're going to have to claim being indigenous in order to stay. You can't do that because the DNA don't lie. The RNA don't lie. The curls in your hair don't lie. Our hair is the only hair on the planet. If you keep your hair natural, our hair is the only hair that defies gravity. And I saw a video of Natalie Cole. I didn't know her afro was so flipping big. I saw Natalie Cole's hair, and again, it grows away from gravity is to pull everything down. Our hair goes the opposite direction. Meditate on that. On top of the concomitant problems of disclosing such a significant leak to that many people, no one knows who is actually responsible for the misconfiguration that left the data open to anyone. Researcher Chris Vickery, who this month found myriad databases left open to all and sundry, told Forbes he has his hands on all 300 gig of voter data, which includes names, home addresses, phone numbers, dates of birth, party affiliation, and logs of whether or not they had voted in primary or general elections. The data appears to date back to 2000. It does not contain financial data or social security numbers. Right. Okay, now this was what we talked about earlier before. Wasn't ammonia, it was methane. This is that in Los Angeles, engineers can't stop a Los Angeles enormous methane leak. One of the largest environmental disasters in U.S. history. I'm putting this into the chat now so you all have it. It's happening right now, and you've probably never heard of it. An enormous amount of harmful methane gas is currently erupting from an energy facility in Aliso Canyon, California, at a startling rate of 110,000 pounds of gas per hour. The gas, which carries with it the stench of rotting eggs due to the addition of a chemical called mercaptan, has led to the evacuation of 1,700 homes so far. Many residents have already filed lawsuits against the company that owns the facility, the Southern California Gas Company. Footage taken on December 17th shows a geyser of methane gas spewing from the earth, visible by a specialized infrared camera operated by an Earthworks ITC certified thermographer. The Environmental Defense Fund, EDF, released the footage last week, calling it one of the biggest leaks we've ever seen reported and absolutely uncontained. In early December, the Southern California Gas Company said that plugging the leak, which sprang in mid-October, would take at least 3 months more. Right now, the single leak accounts for a quarter of the state's entire methane emissions, and the leak has been called the worst environmental disaster since the BP oil spill in 2010. Our efforts to stop the flow of gas by pumping fluids directly down the well have not yet been successful, so we have shifted our focus to stopping the leak through a relief well. Ann Silva, a spokesperson for the Southern California Gas Company, told Motherboard, adding that the company is still exploring other options to stop the leak. The relief well process is on schedule to be completed by late February or late March. So for those that have some experience in plumbing, heating, air conditioning, if you're on the line, could you give us an idea of what 110,000 pounds of gas looks like? Put it in the chat if you'd be so kind. Okay, I'm going to ask, Hiru Monterreal, I see your question. Chief, could you ask the class, are they having any resistance in getting $1 coins from the bank? Anyone having a problem getting $1 coins? The Sacagaweas, right?
You never have much. I was I got one. Of course, I can't get far without my own transportation, but it was just one at the bank when I went to get it.
And don't forget the post office too, because the post office is a bank. That's what a lot of people don't know.
That post office over here, they should go, no, no, we don't carry those.
Okay, let me see here. I'm just checking to make sure I didn't miss, because I scrolled up to see Hiru's. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody else. Okay, yeah, that's fine. All right, cool. All right, so that's it for that one. We're going to go on to the next article because there's a few articles I want to get covered before. Check Golden Eagle coin online. Yeah, Golden Eagle, but Ahanu Golden Eagle coin. How much is that? I think that's what? What is it for that? How much for that coin? That coin's what?
Hey, Chief,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
yeah.
I was saying it's a place called Golden Eagle.
It's a.
It's a coin shop. It's a
Uh-huh.
coin shop called Gold,
Okay.
and they have an online store, but they have a physical location like it's 2 minutes away from my house, and I go there all the time. They got gold and silver.
Okay.
So if anybody wants, they're pretty cheap too. So that's a good place to get it.
Where's that?
It's in so-called Laurel, Maryland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you'll have to go there online and do a search and see if they have a location in Georgia.
Mhm, mhm,
Right. Well, they'll ship it to you. They'll ship it to you.
mhm. Okay. Thank you.
Yep, this just slowed up a bit. That's all I'm waiting on. Okay, this was a very important story. Spy agencies resist push for expanded scrutiny of top employees. Now, this came out on the 29th. U.S. intelligence agencies recently fought off a move by Congress to require the CIA and other spy services to disclose more details about high-ranking employees who have been promoted or fired, despite pledges to be more open and accountable. The disputed measure was designed to increase scrutiny of cases in which senior officers ascend to high-level positions despite problems ranging from abusive treatment of subordinates to involvement in botched operations overseas. The CIA in particular has come under sharp criticism in recent years for promoting operatives who faced investigations by the agency's internal watchdog or the Justice Department for their roles in the brutal interrogation of prisoners or badly mishandled operations to capture terrorism suspects. Under a provision drafted by the Senate Intelligence Committee this year, intelligence agencies would have been required to regularly provide names of those being promoted to top positions and disclose any, quote, significant and credible information to suggest that the individual is unfit or qualified. But that language faced intense opposition from Director of National Intelligence James R. Clapper, Jr., according to officials involved in the matter. As a result, the wording was watered down by Congress this month and now requires Clapper only to furnish, quote, information the director determines appropriate. So there you go. Like I said, these guys in Congress, they're a bought lock, stock, and key. And what all that's gonna happen is people will start recording them and putting them up. They're gonna tell on themselves. They're gonna flip on themselves because they're not gonna trust that the process is gonna do anything. The embarrassment is worse, and sometimes the embarrassment is worth more than trying to go to court or anything like that. That embarrassment is very damaging to them. What is this here? Okay, this was the financial Juneteenth. Oh, this is the video from the Fed chair. She tells blacks you are on your own.
Oh yeah.
Here's the video.
Hmm.
I can't play it because I don't think y'all are going to be able to hear it. Wow, blacks were the hardest hit group in the labor market in the wake of the Great Recession. Despite having officially ended in June 2009, millions have been left unemployed, especially minority groups, with some being unemployed so long that they are no longer officially counted in unemployment numbers. Black has no standing at law. Absolving the Fed of any responsibility, Yellen said, quote, there really isn't anything directly that the Federal Reserve can do to affect the structure of unemployment across groups. There was nothing that we can do about any particular group. This is particularly troubling given the fact that the unemployment rate for blacks was 9.5% in June, nearly double the 5.3% rate in the overall population and the 4.8% for whites. I just want to find the part where she says, y'all are on your own. Oh, it's in the video. Okay, so y'all have to see that in the video then. Okay, let me see which one this is.
In Russia as well as in the West, research has been underway
Let me see here. What's going on?
for many years.
Oh,
in
yes.
biological
The Organic Robotoids by Dr. Peter Beater. I'll give you all that link. You will have to watch that on your own because I can't play it for you all to hear. This is April 15, 2011. Dr. Beater talks on how the organic robotoids are real, how the Russian scientists stumbled upon the organic robotoid by pure accident, how they look like us, and how they have been infiltrated, how they have now have infiltrated the U.S.
Now the one coming up, a couple of ones down with what's that guy's name with the red one? You missed it. That's real. It's really short and it's very graphic. You can see that. Oh, I can't remember. It's terrible. Where the thing is coming out on the television news show to shake what's his name hand, and then he just falls out. What's the guy's name? It's right there in the red one. It's real obvious. Yeah, I posted that on Facebook. It's awful. Glenn Beck, that's who it is. Glenn Beck's.
Oh, Glenn Beck? Okay.
Yeah, he came out on Glenn Beck's show and he just collapsed to the floor. And Glenn Beck, they and another woman came to assist, and they were making sure that the guy was shut off. Is it off? They said. She said.
That reminds me of that movie, The Stepford Wives, when that woman shorted out when they were square dancing.
Yeah. I see that one.
Oh, you never saw that?
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah,
No,
you
maybe a
definitely
long
need
time
to
ago.
watch that movie. Okay, so we got here Zimbabwe is the first African country. The links are all here. Zimbabwe is the first African country to, well, this is interesting. Zimbabwe becomes Beijing's first African colony.
Oh. Mm.
Interesting. With adoption
Mm.
of Chinese yuan.
Mm.
To say that Zimbabwe has had not much luck with its monetary system experiments would be an understatement. After its disastrous adventures with hyperinflations denominated its own currency, Zimbabwe decided to entirely abandon its reserve currency and shift to the dollar. As we reported over the summer, the Zimbabwe Central Bank completely demonetized the old Zimbabwe dollar, which would be removed as legal tender after the currency's use was abandoned in 2009 following a surge in inflation to 500 billion%. So for people who want to get, what do you mean by 500 billion%? People had to carry suitcases of the stuff just so they could get bread.
Mm.
That's how bad it was. To do this, the bank would exchange up to 175 quadrillion Zimbabwe dollars for $5 US. Let me say that again.
Man.
To do this, the bank would exchange up to 175 quadrillion Zimbabwe dollars for $5 US.
I wonder what their dollar denominations are.
Well, remember, Zimbabwe being that it has a central bank, ultimately who's calling the shot on that? The Rothschilds.
Yeah.
So Mugabe can talk hardcore all he wants. The fact that remains, if you got to kick out 175 quadrillion of your money just to get 5 US, you in rough shape. I'm surprised there ain't war breaking out over there. And there could be, they just ain't reporting it to us. So it's in there. So that's why I said watch those markets.
That's rough.
Watch the stock exchange. If you're watching MSNBC, watch the ticker tapes just to give you a sense of what's going on. Because everything is coming from those numbers. So now you've done your SF-181. You know what the implication is. Market correction. Everything is getting jacked up now. Even the securities are incorrect and have to be redone.
Even the what has to be
Securities.
corrected?
All the financial securities have to be redone. Because when they invest, if you buy a house, if you're investing, anything that they're investing pertaining to or using African Americans as a base or as a pledge, that they can't use that anymore because they're not black. So that means that the security is incorrect, which it means it has to be recalled, reissued, revamped, refinanced, and then resold in the correct terminology. Okay, I thought this was some BS here, but when I saw the date, December 26, 2015, I was like, oh, wow. You should have it in here. And it's saying Bush cancels his Europe trip amid calls for his arrest. Well, George W. Bush was put in Europe again in his lifetime. A planned trip by Bush to speak at the Switzerland-based United Israel Appeal later this week has been canceled after several human rights groups called for Swiss authorities to arrest Bush and investigate him for authorizing torture. Bush has traveled widely since leaving office, but not to Europe, where there is a strong tradition of international prosecutions. The Swiss group and Bush's spokesman claimed that it was threats of protest, not of legal action, that prompted the cancellation. But facing protests is nothing new for Bush. What was different about this trip was that groups including Amnesty International and the Center for Constitutional Rights argued that Switzerland, as a party to the UN Convention Against Torture, is obligated to investigate Bush for potential prosecution. Amnesty's memo to Swiss authorities cites, among other things, Bush's admission in his own memoir that he approved the use of waterboarding. From Amnesty's press release, to date, we've seen a handful of military investigations into detentions and interrogations in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Guantanamo, but none of these has had the independence and reach necessary to investigate high-level officials such as President Bush, said Salil Shiti, Secretary General of Amnesty International. Meanwhile, there has been virtually zero accountability for crimes committed in the CIA secret detention program, which was authorized by then-President Bush. Anywhere in the world that he travels, President Bush could face investigation and potential prosecution for his responsibility for torture and other crimes in international law, particularly in any of the 147 countries that are party to the UN Convention Against Torture. As the
that,
U.S. authorities have so far failed to bring President Bush to justice, the international community must step in, said Salil Shetty.
hmm.
And that link should be here in the chat. Okay, I'm clicking on this link that you just gave me, Saiba. We'll see what this is about. Armed militia, including Bundy Pros, occupied Forest Reserve in Forest Reserve HQ in Oregon, call U.S. patriots to arms. Nevada rancher Cliven Bundy's 3 sons and about 150 militiamen have occupied the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge HQ to protest the pending imprisonment of 2 Oregon ranchers accused of arson, arguing the federal government has no authority in local cases. Well, that sounds like they might be listening to our weekly addresses now, huh? They really want to use 28 U.S.C. Section 1360, but they know they can't. Okay. Armed militia grouping in Oregon against the federal government. Yeah, but you notice they don't shoot them. And let's not forget, Saiba, there was a rancher. Where was he? I think he was in Nevada. And the IRS was coming after him. And so he had some supporters. Them guys went up on the bridge and had their guns pointed at the sheriffs, ready to shoot them. And the sheriff said, well, we decided to defuse the situation and not escalate this. And I said, well, it's interesting. When it was Waco, they rushed them in Waco. And with this guy, they don't want to do anything so the sheriffs back down. Very interesting. So I'm just going to close up some of these links. Oh, yeah.
It's going to be one of the tougher videos I've had to make.
Okay.
Start off with my family.
Breaking message from Marine John Ritzheimer. December 31st. Okay. Let's keep one thing, Saiba. Let's look at something here. And I'm glad you brought this up. Do you realize, Saiba, as well as everyone else on this, anybody who was in the military, is in the military, or retired from the military, that oath to defend the Constitution is fraud. Everybody, you need to realize that. Now that's just general. Does make a difference, white, black. It's fraud because as of 1933, the U.S. was bankrupt, exists in name only, and Constitution is invalid in a commercial court, what they would call local court, and then if you're in the military, it's what? Maritime. So it's a military court, which is a whole different thing. So this guy here, breaking message from John Ritzheimer, his oath is fraudulent. Now, for the Nubians that were in the military, theirs is triple bad because they have no standing at law. They were inhabitants of an area that were conscripted into a military, which violates international law.
Mm.
And so they are a victim of coercion, genocide, apartheid, etc., because they were being told to come in and lied to, saying that they are part of a country which is really a corporation and they have no stake in that. See, these are the things that, people who say that they're knowledgeable are supposed to be talking about, and they never do. So when I see these guys, yeah, I agree with this aspect that, yeah, stuff is a critical pass. Our government, no, government means that to direct. It means an overseer. So all y'all are picking is just another overseer, and you don't even pick the overseer because the Electoral College picks your overseer. So,
He's just an expendable asset.
so I just wanted to let you know that, Saiba.
Mm.
So again, the thing with them is they'll say he's white. No, he's none of those races on the SF-181. He's zero. He's nothing. He's the one that don't exist.
Mm.
The old saying is you have to know the truth in order to conceal it. So how could they say that they have a constitution because they keep forgetting the indigenous here. So there's your sociopaths. Okay, let me go here. Let's back here. Oh yes, meet Nadine. Yes, that's who I want to meet. Nadine, the world's most human-like robot. Now this Nadine is the one sitting down. The world's most human-like robot has begun work as a university receptionist, as scientists predict the new technology will eventually provide childcare and offer friendship to lonely elderly people. I know there are some elders here. I don't know how they feel about having a robot as a friend. Such effort, Ryle. You're shaking your head like, no. With her soft skin and flowing brunette hair, Nadine does not only meet and greet visitors, smile, make eye contact, and shake hands, but she can even recognize past guests and spark up conversation based on previous chats. See, now look at the choice of words that they're using to induce somebody to say, oh, her flowing hair, what? Soft skin and flowing brunette hair.
They said her glowing blue eyes.
A lot of things in between those words that they're not saying.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more.
Sandra Bullock or something.
There's a lot.
Huh?
Go on.
It look like an actress or something.
Super inflatable, the supermodel inflatable doll, whatever. That's terrible. What a world. What a world.
Okay, now this is another story. Beautiful. We're doing great here. Okay, this is the HUD. HUD charges Ridgeland targeted removal of minorities with zoning law. Mississippi. The goal has been to transform Southeast Ridgeland by getting rid of apartments predominantly occupied by African Americans, HUD says. Ridgeland officials are engaging in, quote, unlawful discrimination based on race. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development alleges in an administrative complaint that addresses Ridgeland's campaign to dramatically reduce multifamily rental units in the city. HUD made no specific warning that consequences of enforcing a 2014 zoning law could include a cutoff of Ridgeland's federal funding. However, its notice to Ridgeland noted the city received nearly $5 million in federal money in 2014. The HUD notice says that the agency has 100 days to make final conclusions on whether violations of the 1968 Civil Rights Act and the 1988 Fair Housing Act have occurred. This is an ongoing investigation, and HUD is intent upon moving swiftly to conclusion, HUD said. But the thing is, HUD is the part of financing a lot of you all who have houses. HUD is involved in those transactions, and they wasn't doing nothing regarding the predatory lending. They stayed out of it, even after the fact came out. So again, this is similar to the 40 acres and a mule. We got to give them something, because if a person without any hope is more dangerous than a person with hope, even if the hope has no chance of manifesting. Because a person without hope, they don't care. They don't want to fight somebody that don't care. Because the person that don't care is like, break it all down. They're like, no, let's talk. Okay, so I'm going to put that one here. We got a couple more. We're doing great today. Okay, what was this here? Okay, this is deep. Meet the fast disappearing community of fast disappearing community of Indians and Pakistanis of African origin. Look at this. I'm talking to the one to the right for those that don't know. The one who's getting looks like she's getting her third eye marked. Look at that. You'd have thought she was from either Ethiopia. Look at that. Beautiful picture.
Like she's right down here.
When people think of Africans in Indian history, Malik Ambar tends to be the first name to come to mind. Brought to Ahmednagar as a warrior slave in the 16th century, he rose to be the general of the Deccan Sultanate's army and eventually its regent. Yet Ambar was only the most successful of thousands of Africans brought to India by Arab and Portuguese slavers across the Arabian Sea. Thousands of others came as mercenaries and merchants. Today, the Siddhis, as people of African origin living in India for centuries call themselves, are a fast disappearing community. Separated by appearance, if not by culture, they are largely misunderstood. British photographer Luke Duggleby is attempting to change that. In the ambitious City Project, Duggleby documents the lives of the community, not just in India, but also in Pakistan. Duggleby has been traveling to India for 18 years, but he learnt of the cities in India only a few years ago while working on a documentary on the Little Rann of Kutch. His translator and guide, while describing the communities of Gujarat, mentioned the cities. Duggleby was hooked. So we're going to skip down here some of the pictures. No difference. Look like some children from around the way here.
Sure do.
Look at this. Look at this. And this is a city wedding in a Brahma temple. Workers feed city wedding guests. Look at this. And then there's some that are Muslim. Hindu. This is a Hindu city wedding. And see, you can tell when you look over here, this young guy, look how his hair, look at the texture of his hair.
How dark his skin is.
Got a face like you, Marco.
So we've been all over the place. Okay, where are we at here? Okay, Michael Jordan's dead as of 2017. Jordan's will be 1999.
We was talking about that on the weekly address one time.
Say what?
We was talking about that on the weekly address about Stephon Marbury. Get his shoes made at the same place as Mike.
Oh, what happened?
Why he was
They took the page down. This is the link here. I just gave it to you. Oh, he took it down. Oh, this is weekly address 47. Okay. Black has no standing at law. The 30-minute mark. For those of you that may not have seen weekly address number 37, what is this here? Okay, well, while that one's digging up, let's get this next one here. Okay, this was a case, a federal tax case shows evidence that the U.S. legal system is a fraud. Now, this is November 7th. Okay, to get the PDF, okay, I'm going to give you this, the article, and then I'm going to get you the PDF. Where's the PDF? Okay, here's the link to some of the PDFs for this court case. Great. So I'm going to put them all in. Okay. This was a case, I'll read it. They were supposed to have a hearing on one of the motions, and then the judge never even showed up. Okay, they're all there. What's going on here? Oh, this is the West. Okay.
Operation.
Oh, you guys can actually hear that?
Yep.
Oh, wow, that's a first. I can never get, when I try to play videos for y'all, you can't hear the videos, but you hear this. Okay, this was a UN Security Council report on October 23rd, 2015 regarding West Papua. And after 54 years, UN Security Council, UNSC, keeps silent on West Papua issues, but today, this year, 2015, they spoke after received a pressure letter from UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. So Ban Ki-moon got on the UN Security Council. Now remember, the U.S. is on there, and the president of or the Prime Minister of Indonesia came over to meet Barack Obama, and as far as we know, the subject of West Papua never came up. And remember, Barack went to school in Indonesia. This is what they keep forgetting. In this report, UNSC told about UN General Assembly Resolution 1542, 15th of 15 December 1960, that established East Timor as non-self-governing territories, but they forgot to put UN General Assembly Resolution 4485 of 12 December 1950 that established West Papua or Netherlands New Guinea as non-self-governing territories. This is our statement that we gave to UN Secretary General through his special secretary in his office room, 37th floor, UN headquarters, on the 23rd of April 2015, after we spoke in United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues on the 21st of April 2015. In this statement, we pushed UN Secretary General to set up UN General Assembly Resolution 448V into the agenda of the UNGA. Download our statement, which you can see right here. So I gave you all the link for that. So yeah, that with West Papua is coming up big time. And this is the link for the PDF. Well, hold on a second here. Okay. This is the link here for the PDF. Okay, now this is Christine Lagarde, who is the international president of the IMF, and she's set to stand trial in a 290 million pounds. So that is basically 580 million US dollars for a corruption case that could see her jailed for 10 years. And this will be a first because they're not really touching the bankers with the exception of Iceland. Iceland, they didn't fool around. They locked the bankers up. The Court of Justice of the Republic alleges that the 59-year-old abused her position as finance minister to help a controversial businessman. International Monetary Fund chief Christine Lagarde is to stand trial in a £290 million corruption case that could see her jailed for 10 years. Judges in her home country of France ruled on Thursday. That was New Year's Eve. The Court of Justice of the Republic, a special tribunal qualified to judge the conduct of politicians, alleges that the 59-year-old abused her position as finance minister to help a controversial businessman. Ms. Lagarde is said to have allowed the millions to be awarded to Bernard Tapie, a convicted football match fixer and tax dodger who supported her party, which governed France at the time. The explosive court case will not only be a huge embarrassment for France's ruling elite and for the IMF, but also for Ms. Lagarde's political allies in other countries. These include Chancellor George Osborne, who was widely praised by Ms. Lagarde this week for applying a good set of policies which have yielded positive results for the UK economy. Mr. Tapie, the former head of Adidas in France, claims he was cheated out of the £291 million by Credit Lyonnais Bank when the sports kit empire was sold in 1993. In 2007, Ms. Lagarde ended the epic dispute by ordering a panel of judges to arbitrate, and in turn they awarded Tapie the damages. Opposition MPs were furious with former presidential candidate François Bayrou accusing Ms. Lagarde of dipping into the taxpayer's pocket for a private beneficiary. The Socialist Party also accused Ms. Lagarde of improper conduct, pointing to the fact that Mr. Tapie was a vocal supporter of President Nicolas Sarkozy's UMP, which has since been renamed the Republicans. Ms. Lagarde, a former synchronized swimming champion, had denied any wrongdoing, saying last year, if it's decided to continue with this inquiry, it won't be particularly surprising. Personally, it doesn't worry me at all. I didn't benefit personally. But earlier this month, Mr. Tapie was ordered to pay the £291 million back, as the French judiciary made it clear that the vast public payout was illegal. Legal sources at the Court of Justice in Paris said Ms. Lagarde would be tried on the charge of negligence by a person in public authority, a charge which could result in 10 years in prison. This is despite a lower court recommended that the case should be not pursued because somebody's about to get embarrassed. So there you go again. This just goes to show you, how these things occur. And when it comes proficient or needful, the sociopaths and the nihilists will cover for each other. Now this is the last one here. This is what we talked about earlier. The leaked wiretaps reveal Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, bribed Republicans to sabotage Obama's Iran peace deal. December 31st, that's when it was posted. You may remember the ridiculous doomsday prophecies and outrageous fear-mongering that defined the Republican campaign against President Obama's nuclear peace deal with Iran. The motivation behind their unwise and ultimately ineffective resistance to the president's diplomatic agenda has finally come to light. A new report from the Wall Street Journal, so that'll be this month's Wall Street Journal, reveals that the NSA wiretaps found that the Israeli Prime Minister and other officials of the Israeli government attempted to, and most likely succeeded, to bribe American legislators in exchange for their support against the deal. A U.S. intelligence official familiar with the intercept said Israel's pitch to undecided lawmakers often included such questions as, how can we get your vote? What's it going to take? Mr. Netanyahu and some of his allies voiced confidence they could win enough votes. The answer to Israeli proposals have yet to be fully revealed, but it is clear that favors were offered, bribes were proposed, and from the subsequent behavior of Republican lawmakers, we can only infer that our legislators accepted those bribes from a foreign government in exchange for opposing the diplomatic efforts of the Obama administration. At the very least, the very discussion itself indicates that they conspired with the foreign government to undermine the foreign policy agenda of their elected commander-in-chief, which certainly amounts to treason. So this is what this means. How it goes from here will be interesting because Barack is not qualified to be president. We already know what his immigration or his lack of immigration status is. I got his World Service passport. I got his birth certificate from Kenya with his footprint on it. So this will be interesting to see how this plays out. So I'm going to put this one link here. So that's it for the articles. Does anyone have any questions? Aaron and then Tiamat.
T, you can go first.
Well, it's not really related. I was just wondering what happened to the links for your the Summit of the Americas, where your international recognition published via the internet. It's still there that the page is not found. I was just wondering where I could find that. Even the White Constitution, I couldn't find that.
Oh, I have the Y Constitution. You got to dig for before it used to come up easily on Google. Now, if you put in, all you have to do is type in Y Constitution. It used to come up. Now it don't come up no more. So, if you look at, for example, I think in the International Notice to Blacks and African Americans, it might be there. You check your email and type in Y Constitution, it might come up. I can get that for you and send it. It's not an issue. It's just that this just goes to show they're moving that. Then the Summit of the Americas that was in Ottawa, that I was there for that, they took that website down. Myself and Deani were there, and they took that down.
Mm-hmm. What about the Summit of the Americas? I mean, I wanted to see that.
I got, if you check our page, our official page, and you check in international recognition, it should be there. The scan copy should be there. Because the links, they started messing with the links because it was hitting too close to home. Plus, I got an invitation from the government of Canada when the permanent mission to the UN in Switzerland, Canada's permanent mission to the United Nations, sent me an invitation. Now, of course, they sent it 3 days before we were supposed to speak. This is back in 2012. So, yeah, 72 hours. You're going to send me an invitation 72 hours. You knew the date at least 6 months prior to, but they didn't tell me that until the last second. So I emailed the woman and said, why did you not send this back to me? And the thing is, again, they're on the public. They're on the corporate side. So corporate, flesh and blood, can't talk to me. So don't feel the way. So some of y'all feel like people aren't talking to you, whether you're at a job or you're socializing or you're doing something, you got to go to the clerk's office, whatever, and they don't talk to you. Don't feel bad about that. That is a confession that they are fictitious and they cannot talk to you. So don't feel bad about that. Because there's going to be more coming on this year. There's going to be more stuff happening. It's getting to the point where all these artists and whatnot can't stay silent anymore. They have to pick a side. They have to pick a side. Aaron?
The article that you had just read, and you talked about how the Obama administration's committing treason.
No, the Obama administration is not committing treason. Those Republicans because they went and wrote a letter. When you read the article, they wrote a letter to talk to Netanyahu. The Republicans did, without consulting with the White House. That's international foreign policy. They can't do that. as a group. That has to be done through either the State Department or the White House. And they went and did that on their own. So that's circumventing him.
Mm-hmm.
So now that they caught them on audio being approached to support Netanyahu and cut a deal, obviously that's conspiracy, racketeering, and that's treason as far as the Republicans are concerned. So don't get caught up with these guys. Oh, I love my country. I'm a proud American. No, you're not. American is a copper-colored person. Bust them like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't look like copper. I got pennies in my pocket right now. You don't look like the color of my pennies. Hero, you had a question?
No, I was noticing they had that conference coming up with Mark Johnson in Las Vegas it's tomorrow, I think. Yeah, it is tomorrow. Having some big major conference he having out there. I guess trying to, get some more money up for these schools that he's trying to start allegedly. But I'm gonna try to catch up with him in Baltimore in February. They got a date for him on February, so I was gonna
for Umar Johnson?
try to see if. Yeah. He got an event coming up in February in Baltimore, and I'm gonna make it out there. I want to see if go out there with the SF-181.
Everything. No, listen. No hesitation, no mercy. Because the thing is, okay, you're going to go to school. Why are you calling the kids black? I'm just curious, right?
Correct.
See, that's the type of question that I would ask. See, because I'm telling you, this Matrix knows how to move stuff away from me. Because that's the type of question I ask. Why you call kids black? I'm just curious. And anyway, why even call them kids? Because kids is a definition of a goat. That's a baby goat. So why you call them children kids? Why you call them black? And then once he does that, then it's like, well, what do you mean black? We black? I said, really? I said, well, guess what? My cell phone here is black. This is my skin. It looks brown. Then you get into definition. I'm just giving you an example. You don't have to follow my precise thing. I'm just saying he's supposed to be an educator. And I said this on the address. All those that are supposed to be educators, step to them.
Yeah, because it get kind of disheartening when you see, for example, they'll say he having an event, and then you see all these people that sleep. I'm going, and it's like, man, like you see, we just know you lying, you misleading these people, you ain't telling them the real, you're just giving them that feel good. So you're right, I in my heart I feel like he need to be stepped to. So I'm gonna do it.
Listen, Aaron, Jelani, and Ahanu stepped to Dr. Cresswell, and then when they called the center, they lied. They left a copy. She got one in her hand. Then they went to the other event. She was supposed to come the following month or a couple weeks later. Nothing was going on. They took the picture to show the place was empty, so they tacked it on at Howard University. So I know somebody at Howard University went and looked at that and said, what is this? So the game is over, man. It's over. It's I don't care who it is. I don't. I'm like, you're not gonna sit there, come out in the public, you teacher. Hey, I'm stepping to you. Same thing with Polite. Polite is out there money worshiping, fiat worshiping.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna sit there. How you gonna teach business and you got flags on the stage? You didn't even hide the flags. You put them right there. So okay, you telling me you an agent? That's what you telling me. I don't care if he's taking a picture with Serena Williams. I like Serena. I don't give a damn. He's taking a picture with her, the girl with the pajama party. Who is he? Took a picture with somebody else.
That's Kevin Hart's ex-wife. That girl with the thing, the pajama.
Before her, he took a picture with somebody else. Somebody else that was famous.
Oh, the stripper girl from the music videos.
Who?
The girl he was sitting down with, her name called her Delicious or something.
Oh, that was Delicious from, she was from Flavor of Love.
Flavor of Love, yeah, that's her.
Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't know. So, you see where it's going now?
Yeah.
And my thing is, that's his contract. However, there's a brother who's overseas who gave him $17,000 and got nothing from him.
Yeah, I heard that video.
So when I see somebody pull something like that, and he said, and the guy explained everything. I got the blog talk. I listened to like the 45 minutes to an hour of it to hear the brother's side. And he's like, yo, man, he said he was handling this and he ain't handling it. I'm calling him. He said, no, I'm going to take care of this personally. So I said, okay, cool. I felt great about that. Then all of a sudden can't reach him. He ain't got this. Oh, well, I sent it to you. You didn't get it. He said, oh, okay, I see you playing game with me. So when I see that, now that happened, now Polite putting out all these pictures. Oh, these are all the people he's with. I was like, oh, that's what they do. When they do stuff like that, they take pictures because they need a shield to hide behind. So now he's taking pictures with Serena Williams after she won her award to make, hey, I'm rolling in them circles. Oh, I'm hanging out with Floyd Mayweather. I got stacks. Y'all say that I sold out. I say I cashed in. Ha ha ha. Right? That's the type of stuff I'm talking about. And it's only going to take, it ain't going to take long before he gets jacked up. Now, if he don't get jacked up, y'all know who he is. That's what I said. So if you go to Baltimore, Aaron's there in Baltimore, so y'all might be able to link up and head up in there. But again, one of the things is with this, you got to kind of watch these beings, because if y'all try to come in as a group, they already looking for that. So y'all might have to go in separate.
Security. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know. They telling you, when I went to see Dr. Wilson, man, when I brought that truth, man, they ready to try to get me up out of there. The people in the panel ain't want to talk to me. They ran out the room, had these sidebar meetings and stuff, and they's like, well, yeah, the way you talk and act, you act like you white. I said, I thank you, but you don't have no stand in that law because you still call yourself black. She said, well, I'm African American, and I'm proud of it, and I'm going to be that the rest of my life. All right, and I just walked away. Oh, well.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about that. It is going to get obvious, right? And I don't for those who are talking about New Year's, I'm not into any of that. I'm focusing on our calendar, our time frame, our stuff, because that is how you're going to see. You're going to be in tune as these shifts are occurring. Then you're not even going to be seen. 60 seconds, 666. 60 what? 60 seconds in a minute, 6. 60 minutes in an hour, 6. 24 hours in a day, 2 plus 4 equals 6. Huh. Now, whose time frequency are you operating in? Then we say, no, 19 firsts. Right? 361 firsts, then you got 19 seconds is a har, which is equal to 1 hour, which is equivalent to 19 minutes. Then 19 days is our month. 5554. So when you start going like that, like the first of New Year's, which was on Friday, that was yesterday. That was the 19th on our calendar. We have to start following that. When you know the sun is at its zenith, regardless of which state you're in, because some of you are in Alabama, some of you in Georgia, some of you up in Michigan, you know what time the zenith is. At that point, that's when your time starts. Yeah, when the sun is at its highest point, or high. Don't say high noon, because high noon is not exactly high noon. They call it high noon again to throw you off, because you're thinking 12 o'clock, so you look in here instead of looking at Ray. Then when you check, like here, I have it right here, so y'all know what I'm talking about. I'll even give you all the link.
Yeah, this is what I need.
Yeah. I look at the shadows on the ground to try to figure out what time of day it is, you know.
Okay, so this time zone, like for where it is here, okay, 41%. Where are you hiding?
days.
Hold on a second here. Where's my little... Oh, that's moonrise. Okay, this is sun.
Chief, you said it's 361 days in a year?
Okay, this is the meridian. So when you see this, this is based in Atlanta. So that's where our time cycle is based off of that, because this is as close as I could get to Eatonton. So when you see 12:41 p.m., that is when the sun is high. So if you're in the Eastern time zone, it's 12:41. If you're Central, it's 11:41. And if you're in Mountain Standard, it would be 10:41. And Pacific would be 9:41.
Mm.
This is about staying in tune with the frequency.
Okay. Yeah, let me add that link.
I'm just putting it in right now. And I like this because it even shows you like, okay, this is the altitude and this is where at 12:59. Then it even gives you the degrees, the headings as you get into sunset.
Wow.
But
Can
you
you
could
send me the
send the
link?
calendar,
Pardon?
send the calendar.
I've given out the calendar.
A long time ago, I know. I couldn't find it.
You need the calendar?
Yeah.
Yes.
I need it again, Chief, because I don't comprehend, and I want to comprehend today. Today.
Mm-hmm.
Hotel. I need it, Chief, and I need that link.
I've been giving y'all the calendar for I don't know how long. Y'all are supposed to be backing your stuff up. Don't be giving, I need the calendar, Chief. I've been giving it to y'all. Are y'all printing the stuff out?
They've been taking our stuff.
I said, did you all print it out?
I printed mine out way back in January, but it got ruined. It got wet some kind of way.
It got wet some kind of way, huh?
My dog ate mine.
Uh-oh.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I'm trying. I had my Gmail. Oh, okay, it's right in. No, what happened to my Gmail? Okay, here it is. There we go.
Yeah, that's the link I need.
I've been giving you all the link. I'm gonna give it again. I've been giving you all the time and the calendar. Hold on, this isn't it here. You all have to start printing your stuff out. No excuses. What is this here?
Dog ate mine, Chief.
Huh?
My dog chewing on mine.
You got what?
I see my dog over the corner chewing on some paper, and that's what it was.
Oh, you're gonna blame the children, huh?
The dog.
Oh, the dog. You're gonna blame the dog. Okay, you go ahead and blame the dog again. Trying to be the victim. Clock. Okay.
What is this?
Okay, where are you hiding? Why are you hiding? It's supposed to be here. Okay, this is the book of Urim and Thummim with the clock and the Amorite time system. So when you are looking at this, excuse me. So when you are looking at this clock here, I have all the different time systems. And y'all better print this out and have 3 or 4 copies because I'm going to remember who was asking me for this. Telling me, oh, I don't have it. I need it.
No, I got this. I just don't comprehend it.
Well, I'm going to go over it before we finish. But I want to show you this. This has some of it. Doesn't have all, but what the work shifts that most people. And see, once you know it, this is operating real slow.
Right.
Mhm. Hey,
Now, I'm
Chitty.
just trying to close up some of these. Give me 1 second, Aaron. Oh yeah, CDC. Okay, yes. Give you all this one here. A debate behind recommendations on cell phone risks. Y'all can read that. Okay, the Book of Urim and Thummim. Now this here is an idea. This just gives you the different time. So if you work, let's say you do from 9 to 5, 8 to 4, 10 to 6. What's the other one here? And that's this one right here. This shows you how much time you have, like, or which takes up the most of your time. So like a 9 to 5 takes more time out of the day, and you have a 10 to 6. Then there's one 11 to 7. I don't think I put that one. 11 to 7. Put that one in. So this is just to give you an idea. And this is what our clock looks like. I put the calendar in there, and there's conversions here. Oh, this is all in your Massic. Okay, well, if you can't read your Massic, you're gonna have a problem. I think I have the.
Send me that one too.
I think this is translated. Okay, yeah. Here's the translation. So 361 firsts is equal to 19 seconds. 19 seconds is equivalent to 1 hour. So that's approximately, call it every 19 minutes or 20 minutes. So every 19 or 20 minutes of Gregorian time, that's 1 hour of our time. Remember, the 18th galaxy is coming into this, the 19th galaxy is coming into this galaxy. We're in the 18th galaxy. Ilion is in the 19th galaxy. He's coming into our galaxy. So you're going to see the time. And this was a leap year. So did anybody watch Rockin' New Year's Eve? Did they say, okay, we got to wait 3 seconds before we call New Year? And if they didn't do that, they should have, because they had been doing that for about the last 2 leap years. They said they have to keep, because the Earth is slowing down. And as it slows down, it starts throwing the time off that they have.
So wait.
Okay, so I put in the conversion so you can convert our time. So 19 firsts is equivalent to 1 second, which is equivalent to 1 minute. And 361 firsts is equal to 19 seconds. So ours are what would be called seconds, which would be firsts.
Okay, first, okay. What about hours? No hours.
Huh?
What's the word for the conversion of hours? You say first means seconds, right?
Har. Atna.
Uh,
Wa is first. Second is Atna.
Second.
Yeah, because Wahid, Atnid, Talid. 1, 2, 3. Wahid, Atna, Tala. Or Wah is first, Atna is second, Tala is third. And then Wahid is 1, Atned is 2, Taled is 3. This is in the teacher's guide.
Okay.
You're right, page 16. Mm.
So this is the time system. So when you start basing everything on 19, everything is going to work out for you in ways you can't even begin. And then I have, what conjure, grace, divine, and what the numbers, different breakdown of the numbers. So all this is here. And then these are the spiritual numbers or the biblical numbers. So there's the link here. You'll see T Ma'at. You'll see the link here for the Constitution.
Mhm. I was just more curious. I just wanted to go to that those sites. You know, the summit up there.
Yeah, I'll have to get you the actual pictures. You check our
Mhm.
website. Some of them should be there. And if not, if you need actual pictures, then you can go ahead and do that. Okay, so who needs this? Put it in the chat, exception of the, okay, Tima at Satep and Ra'el and Hebrew Monterey. I'm going to keep track this time. And you all print this out. You're not supposed to be just leaving it on that alone on your computer.
Chief, I can't open the chat.
No, I'm emailing right now.
Oh, much appreciated.
I'm emailing. Okay. Saiba, I got you. Terhaka. And that's why, you know, I was telling people that when the people want to talk about Vortex and Gateway, if you're locked into their time system, you'll never know when it's time for you to move. Because you're focused on 60 seconds, 60 minutes, 24 hours.
You send that to me too, Chief.
Tiger? Yeah.
They kicked me off for a minute.
Oh boy. And does the any of these books go into the that thing about the 19th galaxy?
It's in there it's on the teacher in the teacher's guide.
Okay.
You have the teacher's guide. I tell y'all got the Garu.
Garu.
Read.
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 Ooh.
Because even if I tell you, it's not going to register. When you sit down and you read what I'm telling you, you want to answer, here, all you got to do is read. Once you read it, then we can talk on that level. But if you're not going to read, there's no point in me telling you.
It's just a tremendous workload we have, Chief. It's tremendous.
Deities only.
It's tremendous.
Deities only. You don't have to. You know, you can go off into the sunset and drink Mai Tai.
Okay.
Because when you have controversies, you're going to be able to function, and you're going to make them look stupid, in other words. And it's going to be based on facts and logic, just like where he went down and got his SSA stamped, and the woman was trying to give him he's like, look, man, you ain't telling me nothing about that. This was stamped by the HQ in Washington, D.C., so you can't tell me you can't stamp this. And she stamped it reluctantly because it's contrary to what she knows, but she knows if she dishonors that, he going to take her name, he going to write a letter, say, yo, what's going on here? And she could end up losing her job in the process.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did for extra measures on that one was, you know, the statement that Mr. Carlton and I wrote out, you know, that statement to the Social Security Administrative Officer when he attention to the commissioner.
Yep.
You know, hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. I took that same statement. And I just went on and had it notarized first, you know, just to kind of kill everything so they don't have no room to you know, just kind of just giving them no room. Because once she looked at that, then she was like, oh, she said, oh, penalty of perjury, huh? I was like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the statement is under penalty of perjury. But yeah, she, like you said, she tried to throw me off, but yeah, she knew, so.
Exactly.
I mean, especially when I just came right back and just showed her the one, because she was getting ready to try to tell me how she couldn't and why, you know, all that. I'm like, nah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Always right. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
they try to say that they only can stamp their documents only. Well, you did right by taking that copy in. That did it. She's nothing she can say.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here's the calendar. Let me see if I have it.
Next person.
Well, let me see if I had a calendar. I don't know if I had a calendar.
Calendar is back of the gold book.
Oh, it's in the back of the gold book?
It's in the back of the gold book.
All right. Because I got all the PDFs.
I'm just trying to see if I got a bigger one that's a little bigger versus this small one. Otherwise, I'll have to use what I got. Oh, what I got here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to use this then.
Oh, yeah, okay. I got it. I see it.
Okay, so this is the calendar. Now, I gave you all one before where I put all the dates from the Gregorian and put it in 19, so this way you all could follow along. And our time starts on the 26th of June. So from June 26th, 19 days. Each month is 19. So you read it from the top. See this, Hero?
Looking at it.
From the top,
Okay.
June 26th. And then
Right.
you go all the way down. The first line is 19. Then when you get to the end, that's the July 14th. That's the last day. That's the first month. Then
Okay.
the second dot is second, and going all the way till you get to 19 on this end. 19 times 19 is 361.
Yep.
What is that you holding up, Chief?
Huh?
Yeah.
What is that you holding up?
That's the calendar I'm holding up.
That's in the back of the gold book.
Yeah. So you read it from top to bottom. The first 3 weeks are 5 days. The last week is 4.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
as you go in, then you'll see the winter solstice. Then you'll see the halfway point, which was December 23rd. Then the first
Third.
of January was 19, and now we're going back into the spring solstice.
Mhm.
So all of that is here. It's in
Did you
the.
send that to my email?
I already sent that to you, Tiger. It's in the back of the gold book, and it's in the teacher's guide. You already have it.
Oh, it's in the teacher's guide too?
I've been saying that for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was getting some homework together that I was just getting some homework together. I gotta
As you
finish
can
it.
see on the page here, uh,
Alright.
this is it here. So when you go to time and it talks about the 19th galaxy, so you have to get onto your time system. So every 19 minutes of Gregorian is an hour. So when we go back to that page I showed you about the time, how it's what is this? This is dismissal. When you go back to the time, you'll see that everything is done based on 19. And the reason for that, the beings that care about you are on 19. So logic says if they're operating on that frequency and they care about you, they can't help you if you operate on a lower frequency. How are they going to help you? You'll get assistance, and now it's like, okay, now you all know. So you have no excuse and no reason. I set my clock at 38:19 or 57, depending on what I have to do. So now you all know. So invocations, if they're not too long, 19. 19, as long as, once you have the time, because sometimes, you got stuff you got to do. So depending on what type of invocation, if it's a short one, 19. If it's a long one, then maybe, 3 times, and that's it. But you're going to see the difference when you're doing any chanting or any type of meditation where you're saying do 19 times. So now you have it. All right?
Yes, much appreciation.
Much appreciated, Chief.
Antutina Thanana. And those who got the email, just please confirm that you got it so I know you got it and it wasn't
Yeah.
surreptitiously taken.
Mm.
Oh no, they've been doing stuff, so I know. And this is where we're staged because we're moving up now in terms of going forward. Now that you start operating on your own time system, everything is just going to shift.
Yeah, my
I
computer is
didn't get it.
frozen.
Yeah.
Mine's frozen up now.
I think I got the Omen and Thurman.
Huh?
I got the book of Omen and Thurman. I can't pronounce it. Oh yeah, I got it.
Urim and Thummim.
Cloth. Yes.
Nope. I didn't get it. Nope.
Because I got.
Oh,
I see you sent it on
I think
5:10.
I forgot. I don't think.
Okay.
Let me see. Hold on. Go ahead, Taraka.
Yeah, I think you sent it at the golden meeting at 5:10, and I got it at 5:23. But it said 5:10 and it was sent.
Oh yeah, like I said, it's getting more to the point where, like I said, I'm doing a lot of damage, and you all are waking up and you're utilizing what you're learning, so it is having an effect.
Yep.
Hold on, because I think I missed.
I still don't have it.
Yeah, Tiger. I'm just sending it. Because of course, now the computer's acting slow.
Mm-hmm. And the teacher's guide, Chief, what page is that at the back of the teacher's guide that is on? The calendar.
The calendar's not in the back of the teacher's guide. I said it's the back of the gold book.
Oh, the back of the gold book.
The teacher's guide around the middle is where you'll find the calendar. Pardon me, not the calendar, the clock. So if you look at your where it says clock or time, that's where you'll find it. That's on page 100. It's on page 100. The calendar. You can get the calendars in the teacher's guide on page 115, and the whole section starts on page 113 of the teacher's guide. Okay, so
Okay, much appreciated.